We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys.
Me.
Even if you is a fat phony.
Let's go.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
Said. Thug life chat.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gal.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, pig. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat phony.
Please don't take me out the gas.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to check the volume real quick on the chat thing. Last stream it was 2 hours.
Me. Said. Thug life.
Man, that shit still loud. Bitch, I done turn this shit down. Got me fucked up. What the fuck is still loud? Oh, it's 2 on. Oh, why is 2 on? Oh shit, here you go. Damn, I see it. Oh, I see it now. Hold on. Do one more thug like.
Me. Said. Thug life.
Look at that, look at that. It's still loud as fuck. Chat, y'all let me know if it's loud. It's too loud though. Let me know. This shit too loud. Bitch, you don't stay right in it. Hello? You just want to turn and shit, huh? I'm turning on like 3. Listen. What going on, chat? We any motherfucker too. We back, baby. Dr.DRE, Tupac, part 2. Oh, shit. I'm excited to be back with y'all, man. Starting this damn documentary story. We're gonna finish it up. We're supposed to finish up last stream. This shit long as hell, twin. My mic won't stay still. Move this shit over here. Alright, this shit stay still. Alright, let's get started. Let's get jumping in shit, twin. Forgot what the fuck we left off that.
Rival of the label Death Row, who had passed away a year prior on March 26. Tupac, Michelle, Snoop, the Dog Pound, Suge, the Death Row head of security, Reggie Wright, and Suge's right-hand man, Buntry, all attended the event. Dre was the only one who didn't come, even though he was the closest. Reason why he didn't attend was because he was sick. Suge, Reggie, Michelle, and Buntry decided to fly back home early by taking a private jet, leaving back Pac, Snoop, and the Dog Pound. And that's when Michelle told Suge that Pac was trying to smash her. And again, the reason why Michelle told him that is because she had a secret relation.
Oh, we gonna start out like that? Hold on. Damn, I ain't getting on my Red Bull for you already. Freaky ass.
With him. Everyone assumed that she was trying to start a fight or conflict between Suge and Pac. Because there's villain Suge approached Tupac later on and said, man, you gotta leave my word alone. And Pac then supposedly tried to more or less stay away from her. Daz is fully convinced that Michelle and Tupac slept together in New Orleans, where they had the show. Because she would always touch his chest and head as if he's her boyfriend. The same way she tried to get Montel Jordan in 1995. He said Michelle was trying to sleep with Tupac so that he puts her on more of the songs and helps her to make a comeback.
Did she make a comeback?
Because he hadn't dropped an album since 1989, and Dre wasn't helping her at all. He only cared about his own music. Pac, on the other hand, tried to help wherever he could. He was in the studio almost every day, and was
Not just
willing
one
to work with everyone on death row.
Damn, there she.
That's why she supposedly tried to get close with him to revive her own career. But Reggie Wright thinks that it's very unlikely that the two slept together, since Suge would have dropped her from the label. Although this is the same woman who chose to cheat on Dre with his business partner. Knowing that the moment Dre finds out, it'll all be over. And Suge was only seeing Michelle as one of his side chicks at the time. Because he was already married to a woman named Sharitha and was sleeping with one girl after another, promising them that he'll make them famous. That's where a lot of the money on Death Row went. And Dre supposedly had a problem with that. Reggie Wright also denied that Suge got mad when hearing that Tupac tried to sleep with Michelle. Suge supposedly went to Reggie and said, "Yeah, man, Pac messing it up. He's trying to holler at Michelle. If Dre finds that out, he's gonna mess it up. Pac shouldn't have did that. That'll mess things between us and Dre." Suge and Reggie were laughing about it since Suge was already sleeping with Michelle. So he was just being sarcastic. So Reg told him, What do you mean if Dre find out about Tupac hitting on her? Dre gonna have a problem with it when he find out you messing with her. Michelle might have tried to make Suge jealous by telling him the thing about Tupac to see if he really cares for her. Shortly after that incident, the entire Death Row family did a photo shoot for the February issue of the Vibe magazine cover. It was supposed to represent the quote-unquote absolute pinnacle moment, top of Mount.
You just had Tupac by himself.
At the time, they felt unstoppable. The impression you had from the label was that it's a big, strong, and healthy family, where everyone gets along with each other and treats each other like their brothers and sisters. In the magazine, Dre was asked how he feels about Suge, and Dre gave him credit for coming up with the plan for Death Row in 1991. He said they are 50-50 partners. You know, me and Suge, we like brothers and ish. So in January 1996, Dre still saw Suge as his brother. But if this photo shoot had happened a few weeks later, Dre wouldn't have been on it. Like for example, if it was the March 96 issue. Because Dre left in February, and in March he already formed his new label. There was a part in the interview that raised a few eyebrows. Dre was asked if Death Row would exist without him. His expression went blank. He began to speak, but stopped himself to think for a moment, as if he's confused or trying to hide his real thoughts. All the disagreements they had behind the scenes, and him thinking of the possibility of him starting his own label. His response was indirect. It's clear that he chose his words wisely, so that he doesn't accidentally infuriate his partner Suge, or come off as if there are indeed plans of him leaving the label. He said, wherever I am, whatever I do is going to be the bombish, and people are going to benefit from it. I don't know. There might be another Dr.DRE out there, somewhere. He then let out easily. There are of course numerous ways to interpret the statement. The phrase, wherever I am, whatever I do, could imply that Death Row ain't the only option for him. The part where he says people are going to benefit from it could also have a double meaning behind it and be a jab at Suge, who was more or less using Dre before moving on to other artists once he had no more use for him. Although according to Reggie Wright, Suge never wanted Dre to leave the company. And the phrase after that, there might be another Dr.DRE out there, could also have a double meaning behind it, since Dre was getting replaced by other producers who Suge invited to come work with Death Row, thinking that they're better than Dre, just because they were faster. They're slowly taking over for him as well. And DJ quit the mixing for All Eyes on Me, even though that was Dre's job. Suge bringing a long list of producers to Death Row made a lot of people on the label stop caring about Dre's beats as much, because they saw they were able to bang it out without him. Even though we have to admit the quality of Snoop's music without the help of Dr. Dre went downhill. His sophomore album, The Dogfather, was poorly received. Dr. Dre only produced the first two albums released on the label, which were The Chronic and Doggy Style. Suge repeatedly told Dre that he's taking too long, and that all the other producers are doing his job. That he's taking credit for what other people do. While Dre felt like everyone was benefiting from him. They also did an interview with Suge, and he seemed to be throwing subliminal shots at Dre about the credit that certain people got for work they didn't do, whether it's the beat they produced or lyrics they wrote for somebody else. They always accused Dre of not giving credit to his ghostwriters and ghost producers. So they could have indeed sent subliminal shots at each other.
Like if a person writes something, they should get paid for their zero. They should get credibility and they wrote it. If they produced it, they should get paid. You know, and they credibility for letting the world know they produced it.
He also said that in the past, quote unquote, a lot of record companies were built where people would pick the star. So that person gets all the production credits from smaller producers. Admitting that it was a mistake for Death Row and everyone else to do, knowing that they had done this in the past for Dre.
So that's a bad mistake for Death Row or anybody else to do. So my vision is to say, look, let all the young guys know if they come to Death Row and they produce the track, they get their credibility, they get their money. Same
You
thing
fucked
with
everything up.
That's one vision we definitely doing right now.
Between 1992 and 1995, Death Row only managed to put out 3 studio albums. Pac convinced Suge that they need to double, triple, and quadruple their efforts so that the album charts are filled with projects from artists on Death Row. They wanted to leave a mark on the world by dominating the charts every month. With Dre being the head of the company, things were going way too slow. And that's why Suge tried to pressure him into working faster. After seeing no progress, he wanted to replace Dre with Tupac. Even though Dre and Suge are 50-50 partners, and Suge technically can't replace them as their equals. So he tried to use intimidation and pressure to get what he wants. In interviews, Suge explains how he planned to go from one album a year to releasing 10 albums annually. He wanted Death Row to grow into something as big as Sony and Warner Brothers. And with Dre making the decisions, they couldn't do that.
What we're going to do, Death Row, we're going to put out like about anywhere 6 to 10 records out a year. Only time other people sell records on our style is we're going to put a record out there. I want Death Row to be, which will be more like a Warner Brothers, Sony, MCA. Well, we're going to distribute our
It could have been.
They interviewed Pac as well. And just like Dre, he dropped some statements in the February issue of the Vibe magazine that raised some eyebrows. He said, the family part to me, I'm not going to be corny and be like everybody on Death Row love each other. It's not like that. Nobody has beef internally. And if we do, we handle it internally. This is Tupac openly admitting that in those 3 months he was on Death Row, he has already seen and was already involved in internal issues with people on Death Row. And these internal issues are relevant enough to address externally, meaning in interviews. But they're addressed indirectly, to not make the issue bigger than it already is. He was clearly alluding to the arguments and fights he had with Dre and his people, which Suge tried to handle. He said, as for me and Suge, right now, as of today, we are the perfect couple. I can see this is what I've been looking for management-wise. He writes like I write. With Suge as my manager, I gotta do less. Things got a little heated between Michelle A. and Dr. Dre at the time. Dre was cheating on Michelle A. with Nicole, and Michelle A. with Suge. Even though the two had been engaged for years. When Michelle A. came back from rehab, she moved back into Dre's house in Calabasas without knowing that Dre was dating Nicole. I mean, Michelle A. was secretly meeting Suge as well. But the two acted like the relationship is still ongoing. Shortly afterwards, Dre, Michelle A. and Dillinger's baby mama, Kenya Ware, went to a big party. They were all at Dre's mansion at first, before they all went their separate ways. Michelle A. and Kenya Ware drove to the party in a limo, did their makeup inside the vehicle, and were getting ready to have some fun. When they got out and walked inside the building, they saw Dr. Dre together with Nicole. The two ladies were wondering who that woman was. Dre then smiled and introduced her to everyone. Hey you guys, I want to introduce you to my new woman. Your new woman? Kenya asked. They were shocked and confused since they were together at Dre's house just 45 minutes ago. Dre basically introduced his new girlfriend to his fiancée. Michelle started crying and decided to leave the building.
What are you crying for?
Kenya then followed her, and the two went back home. Dre and Nicole stayed and enjoyed the rest of the party. Michelle then moved back to her grandma, who was actually the one that kept telling her to just endure the abuse. The reason why she didn't leave early. A few days later, Michelle broke into Dre's mansion by climbing through a window. She then noticed that Nicole had moved in. Because Dre had told her over the phone that his relationship with Nicole came to an end. So she broke into the house to collect evidence and to find out Dre was lying. Nicole had thrown away all the stuff, like for example Michelle's baby portraits, which is kind of odd if you think about it, because that was Dre's child too. Why would he allow her to throw away pictures of his kids?
Yeah, I was broke away. How they throw her ass across the I just seen them.
Because they were outdated.
Baby picture away.
Dre and Nicole then came back and went to the bedroom where they found Michelle sitting on the bed. They were in shock. Michelle then went straight at Nicole, verbally attacking her because of the baby pictures. But Dre jumped in between, looking furious. Michelle then thought that he would once again try to punch her, but he was trying to look like a gentleman in front of Nicole, who he tried to convince that this gangster image is only an act to sell records. That he's actually the complete opposite of a wife-beater, cheater, and misogynist. But Michelle understood that she had to go and just walked out. She then told everybody that she's single again and started working on her second album, which she wanted to call Single Black Female to spite Dre. Then on February 1st, she came to the studio where Tupac, Johnny J, and Nancy Fletcher recorded the song Too Tight for MC Hammer, who Suge Knight signed to Death Row in 95.
Dublin.
Hammer was one of the biggest rappers in the early 90s.
Appreciate that. I know you saying Dublin. Why the fuck is Dublin? Hold on, chat. What media source I got on? Turn it on. I probably got another Windows open. Why is it doubling though? Let me go to sound. Bitch. Oh, that was it. Headphone. Mic is on. That shit ain't even on the right mic. The fuck. It might be in it, chat. I don't know. Let me see. I gotta see what my input is on here. Input. Headphones. Let me see if that's it.
He had fallen off in terms of popularity, status, and overall quality in music. Now that Tupac was done working on his album, Suge wanted to revive MC Hammer's career by writing the album Too Tight for him, which was supposed to be released on Death Row. So with Hammer, Pac, and Snoop on the label, and then getting prioritized, Dre had some serious competition on his label, which made playing Biggie. Pac supposedly approached him.
Fucked up.
Playing Biggie. Pac.
Hold on, I gotta figure out this shit. It's double echoing. I don't got two of these bitches open. Only got one. Let's go. Let me check my voice audio. Oh shit, that's what it is. Damn, motherfucker. I was wondering why they were doing that. Hold on, I ain't got my shit set. Why don't I got a microphone? Hello? Let me turn this on. Delete that. Okay, deleted that. Need a new one. Why is it not showing up? Oh, there you go, there you go. I see it. But I just pressed this one? No, I just did that one. I think it's at 1 or 2. I'm gonna say 1. I'm gonna put 1. Let's see. Let's see how I found on 1.
Supposedly approached him, took the vinyl and broke it, yelling at the DJ for playing Biggie's music. But this was Biggie's territory. Pac was telling New York DJs in New York not to play East Coast music. And that led to a whole argument and fight. So Pac was really mad during his final days. He saw Snoop as a traitor and supposedly wanted to leave Death Row. He even wanted to cancel the trip to Las Vegas that following weekend, where he eventually got shot and killed. Because at the time, he had some issues with his family that he wanted to solve. But Suge convinced him to stick to the plan. On the following Tupac.
So I know it's 10. I know it. The same thing they love me. They got it in mind. They don't believe, but they forgot that same thing that made them want to kill you with. The same thing that's right now. And that's why we talk. He energy. He want to say, I wish I could take you back, but he can't. He don't need himself to lie. Now you act like you don't know what's going on. Listen to it. Think. That's exactly the way this will be your reaction unless you get guilty.
He also talked about Biggie saying that the reason why he ain't responding to this record Kill Him Up is because his friends.
Why your bitch ass doing that shit? God damn. That pissed me the fuck off. What I gotta put up in the browser.
And people around him told them that the song ain't worth responding to. Because in the September 96 issue of the Vibe magazine, Biggie said the whole reason why I was being cool from day one was because of that guy Puff. Because Puff got down like that. He got the street riled up because he got the song dissing me. But how would I look dissing him back? My people is like, F that guy. That guy is so much on your D. It don't even make no sense to say anything. This is interesting because everybody around Biggie, including Junior Mafia, Jay-Z, and the Lox, said that Biggie told them that he won't respond. And that nobody is making this record.
I might have put my other mic on. For some reason, it's still doing that shit. Okay, I got an auto one. Where's the other one then? I said I already got one up. Wait, let me delete this shit. They said I already got one.
Maybe Puffy spoke to him while he was in a state of confusion, not knowing what to do. advising him to not respond and to just focus on the music.
I had to make the call to Biggie. I said, we not gonna respond. Somebody will get hurt if we respond. Because Tupac hit us with hit 'em up, and that joint was cold. We would take your turntable, play hit 'em up. You know what I'm saying? That's how cold that thing hurt to this day.
I told Big not to respond, so I could understand. Because what Big had written for them, like somebody you know, gonna get as bad as it got. No, he didn't record it. I mean, he let me know what it was saying.
This shit about to pick me up. Sorry about that shit, chat. I don't know, they just started doing that shit today. I'm gonna put system. Oh, I can't change the system. Oh, that's crazy. It might be this though. Might be that. I got two of them open. So which one is the bro? Hello? You want to try it? You know what I'm saying? And it was just too much, you know. Sometimes things are just like too much.
Pac pointed out how the King of New York all of a sudden became a follower, doing what the people who were supposed to be his followers were telling him, instead of making his own decisions and making them follow him, implying that Biggie's team shouldn't have the authority to stop Biggie from making response records.
You know, that's just my mom would tell me, and stress that.
Two things. Might put my other mic on. Fuck this shit. This shit too complicated, Trent. Fuck this shit. This shit want double echo and shit. Fuck me up with this shit. Oh, slang. What's it called? Shit, fuck, we gonna thug it then. Hold him up. I won't deny it. I'm a straight rider. You don't wanna fuck with me. The police busting at me, but they can't do nothing to it. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't deny it. Man, now where the fuck this shit got to? Oh shit. So let's see what the fuck this shit go to. Unplug the wrong thing. It might not be the. Let me see this keyboard. There it is, keyboard. think we straight. I'm gonna fix this shit very quick. Got the police busting at me, but they came through. I'm gonna do default.
Please don't take me out the game.
I ain't gonna kill you. We was homeboys once, Peg. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys. Even if you is a fat.
Why the fuck is my mic not showing up? Just throw this bitch in. I fucking do it with my camera, I ain't gonna lie. This shit ain't gonna show, I'm just gonna talk from my camera. My camera. It's not showing up. Okay, I see it now. There you go. Oh, God, God damn. I lost my dead headphone. I don't know if focus right here. Oh shit, I gotta change this too. It probably went default though. Made me miss all the good shit. They just getting to the juicy shit. Miss all the good shit. Okay, we should be straight. Let me see what it's on. Okay, everything on default. Okay. Let's see if that fits it. Oh, we gotta go back.
Motherfucker, shut the fuck up. Hawaiian Sophie looking ass motherfucker.
He also did a song called War Games, which is mainly aimed at Nas for saying fake thug in his song The Message.
Is it fixed,
but Puffy was calling Pac a fake thug too.
Let me see if it's fixed. Alright, it's straight. It's better. It's better. You barely hit me though. I hate you, nigga. You can barely hit my eyes. I might need to turn it up though. I'm turning that bitch up.
And that's what he addressed on the song.
I took a bunch of whole crew like her. I ain't concerned, I bust on bad boy mob deep and murder the firm. When you scream fake dubs, who the fuck you mean? Get more cream than all of y'all in the we have your whole game and y'all just can't feed me. This
fucking D nigga not like that.
Got out of jail on bail and so 5 years. So more records than all you trick motherfuckers put together. More than the firm, more than bad boy, murder mob deep, more than all you bitch made.
On July 29th, Pac recorded Me and My Girlfriends, which was not only inspired by Nas's song I Gave You Power, but it might have also been done to spite Biggie, since he has a song called Me and My B on his album Ready to Die. Me and My B and Me and My Girlfriend. Was that a coincidence? Both song concepts are different. The only things that are similar are the titles and the fact that both of the songs are dedications to their girlfriends. But Pac also added a double meaning behind it by making the song about a gun. Just like Nas did on I Gave You Power. All three, Pac, Nas and Biggie, were competing at the time and dissing each other. So Pac might have done it with the purpose of showing them that he mastered their styles and that he's the overall better songmaker. He also gave everyone who was there during the Quad Studio incident a shout out in the handwritten liner notes of the Killuminati album. I dedicate this to Jack the Snitch Agnant for ordering the hit, to Todd for shooting me, to Puffy, Big, Stretch, Lil Sean, Jimmy Henchman, and whoever else remained silent while quietly conspiring my downfall. I thank you. I thank Faith for the greatest weapon ever, her low self-esteem and beat-up pussy. Another jab at Big, whose wife Faith supposedly opened her legs for Pac, trying to rub it in his face again and again, hoping that Biggie finally snaps and goes on the offensive. Cause he really wanted to do a back and forth. He didn't say much about Biggie on this album. He was waiting for his response. He also gives a shout out to the Junior Mafia member Lil Kim, while once again belittling Biggie. To Lil Kim, or fat-ass weave-wearing, Biggie short stubby D-sucking for being nobodies. So Pac knew about Lil Kim's relationship with Biggie. It's possible that Faith told him about it, cause she informed him about them being separated. But there must have been a reason for Pac constantly going at Lil Kim, who up until this point hadn't said anything about him. Pac didn't even see her the day of the Quad Studio incident. But that's usually how you hurt a man's pride, by going at his woman. He did it again on July 29th on the song Street Fame. The reason for him to constantly go at Lil Kim is either the assumption that it would hurt and trigger Biggie the most, since she was one of his loved ones, or because Pac heard the disses on the demo version of Lil Kim's song Big Mama Thing, which should have came out on August 1st on DJ Mr. C's The Physical tape. Maybe Pac got the tape earlier in July. That would have explained why he went at her instead of Biggie. And Big had told her not to diss him, but she did it regardless behind his back. Not only that, but she also dissed Big's wife, Faith Evans, which he would have never allowed her to do.
I dedicate this song to you, like R. Kelly in them twin pots in your belly.
If they have twins, she probably have Tupac.
Like R. Kelly in them twin pots in your belly.
Making the same joke about Faith giving birth to Pac's kids as Biggie on Brooklyn's Finest. The entire second verse is going at Faith, cause the two were beefing at the time. Faith once again caught Biggie cheating with Kim. Faith was pregnant but still decided to fight her, beat her up and stole her wig. Lil Kim used the whole incident with Pac against her, trying to show Biggie that she's unfaithful and not worthy of being his wife. Lil Kim was Biggie's side chick the whole time, and she wanted to rank up and be Biggie's main chick. In order to prove her loyalty towards Biggie, she decided to diss both Pac and Faith. But again, Biggie didn't want her to do that. In verse 3, she's taking shots at Pac.
Oh yeah, who shot ya? Who knows what they got ya?
Who shot me but your pumps didn't finish? Who shot your mouth ties like Sinatra? Who shot me but your pumps didn't finish?
They got ya. Fed up, wet up. Maybe next time your punk ass will keep your head up.
There are three explanations on why this version of Big Mama Thing didn't land on Lil Kim's album Hardcore in November 96. First one being Biggie's disapproval of the song. She recorded the song behind his back and dissed not only Pac but also his wife Faith, even though Big told her not to. Biggie supposedly got mad and the two had a fight. He supposedly told her to redo the song, inviting Jay-Z to come lay down a verse. The second explanation is that they had to change it after Pac's death, to not make it seem like Bad Boy is dissing a dead man. The third explanation came from Kim herself. It was actually a diss record, and then it was a couple things they wanted to change, but couldn't clear. A situation had happened at the time, so we put Jay-Z on it, because the second verse was crazy. The record had leaked before the album came out. And then when a record leaked, it wasn't really a good thing. It wasn't a bad thing because the world would go crazy, but it wasn't a good thing as far as financial sales for the record company. She didn't even mention the third verse where she's dissing Pac, cause that one was changed too. She only mentioned verse 2, the one where she's going at Faith. She removed the last 2 verses and recorded a new one, replacing the verse where she's dissing Faith with Jay's verse and the verse where she's going at Pac with the new one. On August 2nd, Pac recorded the song Catchin' Fillins, which contains more jabs at Biggie, clowning him for still not having the courage to respond properly. Implying that Big should have thought twice before crossing him, saying that he's afraid of him, while Pac himself is fearless, cause he is the one that everybody is scared of. They are terrified of his presence. Not even the King of New York has enough courage to face him. Talking about the song Hit 'Em Up, which completely silenced.
I ain't one back this. I don't need it. Biggie bullshit.
Came from Kim herself. It was actually a diss record. And then it was a couple things they wanted to change, but couldn't clear. The situation had happened at the time, so we put Jay-Z on it. Because the second verse was crazy. The record had leaked that he's afraid of him, while Pac himself is fearless. Cause he is the one that everybody is scared of. They are terrified of his presence. Not even the King of New York has enough courage to face him. Talking about the song Hit 'Em Up, completely silenced him. 2 months have passed and there's still no response. Now Pac is making songs every couple weeks, making fun of Biggie for being as quiet as a church mouse ever since he released the song Hit 'Em Up. On August 4th, Pac recorded the outro for his song Toss It Up, in which he's once again dissing Lil' Kim, Biggie, and Puffy. Asking people how non-players like Biggie can make player songs like Big Papa, One More Chance, and Players Anthem. There are multiple vocal tracks overlapping in the outro, so it's a little hard to hear what he's saying. He's addressing multiple topics at once.
I don't know what you're talking about, twin.
Big hated the fact that all of it was going on. He loved Tupac and everybody from the West that he had known. He loved them.
Talking about Puffy's numerous attempts to squash the beef, Pac is saying that he doesn't want peace and that it's time for war, making fun of them for having lower record sales.
Oh shit, we on the wrong damn document. God damn it. Fuck! We on the wrong one. Damn, we already went through this. I thought we was on Dr.DRE and them. Goddamn, we on the wrong one, twin. Damn, we fucking up. I fucked up bad. I was like, damn, we back in Biggie and shit. What's going on? Oh, there we go. My bad, Jet.
Cook's infamous speech at the 95 Source Awards, which reignited the East-West hip-hop conflict. The artists on both labels, Suge Knight's Death Row Records and Puff Daddy's Bad Boy Entertainment, got dragged into a bloody war with partner Suge Knight, who's getting out of control. There are countless stories of rappers and producers getting beaten up on Death Row for the smallest reasons. What if Suge tries an argument and Dre got tired of her? Michelle A didn't throw away her stuff like Nicole did, so she was able to bring back all her stuff to her own place. Michelle A then told him that she'll leave him the first night Dre doesn't come home. That lasted for about 2 weeks until mid-February. While they were back together, Michelle A told Dre about all the things that Suge was mad about, things that he didn't like about Dre, and told her in private when they were sleeping together. So she was playing both sides, sleeping with both men, telling both of them what they thought of each other. Basically adding fuel to the fire by telling both sides what they would have never told each other face to face, without having to fear that the label might fall apart. Cause both Dre and Suge were hiding their frustrations and real feelings about one another to save the company. They both wanted Michelle A, and Suge wanted to bring Dre under his control. Without Michelle A's pillow talking, the relationship between Suge and Dre wouldn't have gotten to this point. Dre then started to wonder how Michelle A knew all these things, since no one else seemed to know about it. That's when Dre started to suspect that Michelle A and Suge were closer than he thought. That he wouldn't have told her all these things if the two weren't close like lovers. Maybe he came to the conclusion that the two had a relationship or an affair. But he later got confirmation by others working at Death Row that Michelle A and Suge had slept together while they were still engaged. That was the final straw for him. He told her that he's ready to move on from Death Row. He felt betrayed. Dre then went back to Nicole, signaled it to Michelle A by violating the agreements of him having to come home every night. And that was it. Michelle A understood that he's spending time with Nicole. She then moved out. Their relationship was over. By that time, Tupac's double album All Eyes on Me had already been released and did crazy numbers. It came out on February 13th and sold 566,000 copies in the first week. It debuted at #1 on both the US Billboard 200 and the US Top R&B and Hip Hop album charts. Everyone was celebrating because they knew they had the biggest rapper in the world on their label. He easily outsold Biggie's Ready to Die. Suge was now fully convinced that Pac is the future of Death Row. He wanted to do everything he could to grow the label with Pac on board, so that he stays on Death Row forever. After her breakup with Dre, Michelle A and Suge once again got close. She started to badmouth Dre, telling Pac all the things Dre did to her while they were engaged. His problems with alcohol, him being a cheater, him physically abusing her, his new fiancée, his plans of wanting to leave the label, and she also spread rumors of him being gay, saying that she caught him in bed with his best friend Bruce Williams. Tupac kept it to himself at first and wanted to do his research on it, but then later informed Suge about it and mentioned it in interviews after Dre infuriated Pac by making some comments in the Source magazine. More on that later. Around the same time, Michelle A and Suge sneaked out to Malibu, where they stayed at a luxurious hotel together. She started pillow talking to Suge again, telling him about Dre wanting to leave the label. Mentioned all the issues he had with Suge and the company, saying that Dre felt like Suge was trying to control him, and that he wants to break free. So she was giving Suge a heads up. He didn't really want Dre to leave the label, but Tupac was always pointing things out that Dre did which in his opinion were wrong, or unfair, or bad for the company. Prior to that, Suge and Dre had a great relationship. I mean, aside from the fact that Suge was occasionally sleeping with Dre's baby mama and fiancée Michelle A, which is of course already a fair reason to stop working with him. But it was brought to Dre's attention at the very end, when him and Suge already had their issues with each other. Dre didn't get along with Pac much either. I mean, he just joined the label, jumped on the ship that Dre built with his own hands, and is now trying to tell Dre what he's allowed to do or where he can go with his own ship, while trying to create a rift between the two ship owners. He just came aboard after getting bailed out of prison and is now trying to take the helm of the ship, while treating Dre like a subordinate instead of a captain. And Suge was playing the middleman as if Tupac was one of the owners of the company. And Dre got tired of it, knowing that Suge is actually siding with Pac. Michelle A told Suge everything that Dre always complained about, and also mentioned him wanting to reach out to Jimmy Iovine to ask for help. Suge got really upset, cause Dre never told him any of it during their meetings, and he also had a feeling that Dre was trying to avoid him. Suge then told Michelle A some of the things he hated about Dre. Him being lazy, not being around when Pac and others made music, not being there for Snoop, etc. On February 17th, Tupac, Dr. Dre and Roger Troutman were supposed to perform the song California Love on Saturday Night Live. But according to Suge Knight, They first held a meeting in the Red Room at the K&M Studios, which was the recording facility of Death Row Records. They were getting ready to do the show, but Pac supposedly wanted to address something in front of Dr. Dre and Suge. Pac was like, "Go on, get it out the way." Walked over to Suge, closed his eyes and put his chin back. He said, "Go on, hit me on the chin and knock me out. Because if I gotta get in trouble for this, let me get it out the way." Suge was confused and thought Pac was just joking around. Didn't really understand why Pac wanted Suge to knock him out. So Suge said, "Man, say what's on your mind." To which Pac responded, "I'm not doing the song with Dre." Meaning he doesn't want to perform the song California Love on Saturday Night Live with Dr. Dre. You just go on and get it over with. Again, asking Suge to punch him for that. Suge then said, "What you mean? We're getting ready to do Saturday Night Live, right?" And Pac said, "No, I'm not doing California Love with Dre. Because Dre is a sexual. Dre, use the F-slur." People in the room got quiet and confused. Suge then looked at Dre and thought he would say something slick, so that Pac will lose his temper and it will turn into a fight. According to Suge, Dre then looked at Pac and said, "First of all, I'm not a F-slur." "Okay, well then you're homosexual." Dre then said, "I'm not sexual. I'm bisexual."
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
That boy sweet. That boy sweet. That boy sweet. But Ken.
Pac then started yelling.
No, you
I told you,
man.
I told you, I told you, you heard him say it. You heard him say he's
_ghost_woo.
He going around effing people in the ass.
Pac like that.
Dre then argued with Pac saying, "You stupid man."
I know, right, Ghost?
To which Pac responded,
What we know
"Nah,
about? You don't give a damn.
you run
You
around
speaking, man.
effing people in the ass." Dre then said, "Look, I'm sexual because I could F a B word in the ass. I'm sexual because I'm the one doing the catching and they the one doing the pounding."
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
And Pac said, "It's over. I'm not doing that California-ish with him in life. I'm tired of this." Suge then told Pac, "Stay right there." He told everyone they can exit. At the time, Suge didn't like how Pac embarrassed Dre in front of everybody. After people left the room, Suge then spoke to Pac in private and told him that he can just perform his half of California Love without Dre. He then made a phone call informing the people who run Saturday Night Live that Dre can't come and that Pac will perform California Love alone. And that's Suge's explanation on why Pac performed the song without Dre. Pac called Dre gay on numerous occasions, mentioned it in interviews, in recorded conversations with Suge, and then later on in songs. Dre later did an interview addressing all the gay rumors, saying that it's all a lie, and that Pac didn't even know him like that they weren't even close. Which does make sense since they only met a couple of times. It's not clear if the meeting actually took place. Suge is the only one who spoke on it, and he kept telling the same story again and again since 1996. Some people say that Dre didn't even come to the Saturday Night Live rehearsal, and that he didn't even plan on performing, letting Pac stand there all alone. This means that there's a possibility that the meeting did not take place, and that Pac confronting Dre was a lie. But it is true that Suge was upset about something, cause he reached out to Jimmy Iovine that day, saying that he wants to meet to talk about the future of Death Row. Suge then went to Jimmy Iovine telling him that he's going to kill Dre, but Jimmy managed to calm him down, saying that they should try to get along to save the company.
I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave Death Row and everything that was accumulated. I didn't want anything following me. I'm done.
Look, man, I can't do nothing with Dre. You're gonna have to take him off my hands. I can't. You take Dre. We want Dre out. And Jimmy was like, "No, man, think about it. trying to change Suge's mind. I think that's a mistake. What do you want me to do? How am I supposed to get involved in your business? You two are the owners. Interscope does not own Death Row. Suge was ready to replace Dre with Pac, cause the two were way closer. Two like-minded individuals who were always hanging out together and were both part of the Mob Piru gang. They also had the same goals and ambitions. Wanted to make as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time while destroying their enemies on the East Coast. Pac was the rap version of Suge. Everything Suge expected him to do, Pac could accomplish with ease. He could write his own lyrics within just minutes, sell the most units, help others on the label to make music, and make hits, daily, about any topics you can think of, without having to exploit writers and producers like his old partner Dre, who, despite all that, only made quote-unquote one song per year. Those were Suge's thoughts. He saw Pac as the greatest to ever do it. Someone who could fight his own wars and intimidate the whole rap scene. But Suge wouldn't have dared to talk to Dre personally and to tell him that he wants him gone. He was trying to use Jimmy Iovine for that, but neither of them could do anything about it.
So
it was up to Dre to make that decision. So that's why Suge reached out to Jimmy, who ended the conversation by saying, "I'll see what I can do." He informed Dre, asking him what he wants to do. Dre understood that there were only two options. Either try to sort things out with Suge, which would have meant that he would have to agree to all the terms on how Suge and Pac want to run the company, or he could just walk away from everything. Dre later decided that it's better for him to just leave everything behind. His attorney, Peter Paterno, advised him to sell his share of the company. But Dre refused, as he didn't want to deal with all the headache that comes with it. They would have probably spent the next years fighting in court, but Dre didn't want to waste any more time.
No more empty
and
promises.
didn't want
July
anything to follow
24th,
him.
2026,
Jimmy wanted
Kingston,
him
Jamaica.
to stay
Jamaica,
at Death
1
Row.
million people march,
He
flex
said,
biceps
"Don't
for
break
rights
up
and
the
justice."
Beatles. We keep the band together." And Dre said, "Nah, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do about it." According to Tupac's chief engineer, Tommy D, engineers on Death Row were getting beaten up and punched in the face for making mistakes. Sometimes they were taken to the back room, where they could beat them up without anyone being able to interfere. They also had dogfights and used dogs to intimidate engineers. Once they even beat up the assistant engineer for messing up the food order. A lot of people refused to work for Death Row under those working conditions, and Dre was tired of that.
When I saw an engineer get beat down, or we rewinding the tape too far, you know, that was like, okay, what are we doing here?
Everything just changed. It became a lot more violent. Engineers are getting beat down, random people are getting beat down and shot at in the studio, in the mic booth, all kind of shit. There are still untold stories about what Suge's people did to others in front of Dre and Snoop, which they don't even want to talk about on camera, as it would get them in trouble. The DOC, for example, saw a guy get beaten up right in front of him. The victim was pulling him by his pants, and his blood got everywhere. One of the reasons why he chose to leave the company early in '94. The only artist on the label who had no problem with all the beatdowns was Tupac. He thought all the violence was necessary and got along with all the gang members on Death Row. But yeah, Dre now understood that Suge wants him gone, and that they wouldn't stop bothering him until he leaves. That same day, Jimmy Iovine invited Dre to his house, so that they can continue this conversation while having dinner. Tupac's chief engineer Tommy D was there too, and he confirmed that this meeting took place at Jimmy's house, right when Tupac performed California Love on Saturday Night Live, which means it could have technically taken place after the alleged meeting with Suge and Tupac. According to Tommy, they were sitting there eating dinner when they were cutting a deal. Dre told everybody that he's officially leaving Death Row to create his own company. For that, he asked Jimmy Iovine for help. Dre also said that he wanted to take the original version of California Love with him, to release it on his new label. Because again, Pac only got the remix version, which landed on All Eyes on Me. Tupac was later upset that the original version of California Love didn't land on the album, and Dre didn't even get to use it later on, as he would leave the label 4 days after the release of All Eyes on Me, meaning on February 17th, when Dre spoke to Jimmy Iovine. During the meeting, Dre told him that the relationship with Suge ain't working anymore, even though a month prior in the Vibe magazine, he said that they're as close as brothers. Jimmy agreed that it was probably the best thing to just go their separate ways. After hearing from Suge that he wants to kill him, Jimmy realized that he had to do something. He's not losing Ish, so why not? I wouldn't have went anywhere else. I got mad love for Interscope. Me and Jimmy are cool. He pays what he says he's going to pay, and does what he says he's going to do. And that's all I ask for. Don't shoot me, no BS, Dre said. According to Dre's best friend Bruce Williams, him and Dre would go back and forth to Jimmy Iovine's house trying to figure out what to do. Then finally, Dre called a meeting at his house to inform everyone that's close to him that he's leaving Death Row. Bruce started Aftermath with Dre together. At first, the label was supposed to be called Black Market. They wanted $1 million for it. So they came up with the name Aftermath, and Bruce then became the vice president of operations. He will play a huge role later on in Death Row's smear campaign against Dre. Suge then got a call a couple days later from Jimmy Iovine, saying that Dr. Dre wants to leave the label and start his own company. Suge then said, Jimmy, if I never seen a pimp let a mother effing hoe leave, and he tell the prostitute, take the jewelry, take your clothes, and don't forget the money. At the end of the day, everybody knows Dre's a hoe. At that point in time, Suge was okay with Dre leaving the label, because he felt like he had used them up already, and that it was time to rebrand and reshape the label, with Pac becoming his own beats. He wanted someone who doesn't take credit for what other people did, while quote-unquote contributing little to nothing to a guy like Tupac, who's able to write and record 3 to 5 hits per day. And he was also selling more than anyone else at the time. He was the most hyped person in hip-hop. Pac had more adaptation skills, was more willing to take risks, was quote-unquote military-minded, and fit the gangster image that Death Row had more than Dre. He felt very comfortable around gang members, Bloods especially, the Mob Piru, which Suge and the Death Row security was a part of, and also with the Crips, people like Snoop, Daz, Corrupt, and Nate Dogg, Suge using them in the background to get things done, like when they surprised Eazy-E at the hotel and wanted him to free Dre and the DOC from their contracts. They were at the studio all the time, getting money from Suge for nothing basically. They were actually getting paid more than to replace them with real security guards. But he didn't listen to anyone. Gangbanging, bullying other artists in the game, declaring war on other labels, and the image of them being tyrants in the game overshadowed the arts and what they could bring to the table musically. Since there were bounties put on people's heads, gang wars, shootings, beatings, killings, all in a very short amount of time. Not only that, but the biggest people on the label also had cases to deal with, like Snoop's murder case and Pac's assault case. Suge and Dre were also on probation, and most of the security were doing shady things behind the scenes. Some of the downhill, even though Dre is viewed as one of the fathers of gangster rap and put all the things Suge and his homeboys embodied into his lyrics, the label became too gangsterish for his taste. One of the fathers of gangster rap distancing himself from the gangster image. Suge and Pac thought that Dre was hypocritical. How can you make songs like Nothing But a G-Thing, rap about guns, violence and your lifestyle as a gangster, drop one gangster rap anthem after another on the most gangster label out there which you yourself founded, and then turn around and say that it's not the direction you want to go? Pac still had this image of Dre being a quote-unquote studio gangster due to him spending so much time with Eazy-E before going to prison and signing to Death Row. Eazy-E was already calling him out for being a fake gangster. He was actually the one who made the term studio gangster popular. And again, Eazy-E wanted Tupac to diss Dre and expose him for being a fake gangster. That was always in the back of his head, even after he got signed to Death Row. That's why Pac and Suge found it amusing that Dre was distancing himself from them. After all the things Suge, his people, and the artists on Death Row did for him when he was stuck on Ruthless Records, and when he wanted to make a strong comeback on a different label. Dre found out how Suge originally funded the label. He got the money from a kingpin called Pat Johnson, who was selling large amounts of cocaine before getting incarcerated. So it was basically drug money. They also bullied artists into signing over the rights to their music, like Vanilla Ice for example. The label was built on tyranny, exploitation and crime, and Dre wanted to get away from that. For Dre, it looked like Death Row was about to fall apart. Thought that if the cops ever find out about Death Row's secrets, it'll be all over for the label and its artists. That's why ever since he came out of jail, he thought of a plan B. He tried staying until the very end, and now he had no other choice but to leave. Suge didn't want Dre to think that the label needs him in order to be successful, so that's why they didn't even try to sort things out.
For me, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it, but it couldn't be a better position for me. I mean, Death Row is a multi-million-dollar company that have a catalog of hits on top of hits, and I still own all the masters.
Dre was not signed to Death Row. He was co-owning the company, so there was no record contract, but he was always signed to Interscope and Jimmy. On the phone, Suge told Jimmy Iovine that Dre has to leave without taking any of the songs or the artists with him, and Jimmy said that's fine, meaning that Dre was ready to walk away with nothing. The whole time Suge was earning more money from the label than Dre did, even though they were 50-50 partners. Suge had a garage full of cars while Dre only had 2. Dre knew that Suge was screwing him over, just like Jerry Heller and Eazy-E did on Ruthless Records.
Damn, okay.
Once he got his own label Aftermath, that's when he started making hundreds of millions of dollars. So with Suge screwing him over, Dre knew that he could make more money by himself, even if he had to start from zero and give up on his entire catalog. It was a huge risk to leave everything behind and to start from scratch. He wouldn't be able to make any more money from all the songs and albums on Death Row, meaning from The Chronic, Doggy Style, all the hits, all the songs he produced. All the money Dre would have earned ended up going directly to Suge, and Dre was fine with it. He signed over the rights and got a check from Jimmy Iovine to start his own label, with Interscope being the distributor. His ghostwriter Jay Flex was down to leave Death Row as well, but couldn't because of his contracts. Dre told him that he's going to take care of it, so Jay Flex continued to write songs for him, like for example Been There Done That, which later ended up on the Aftermath album. The producer and rapper Sam Snead wanted to stay at Death Row for a while, until he has put out all the music he recorded, cause he felt like he was just about to blow. He had recorded his debut album Street Scholars on Death Row, and didn't want to scrap it. Jay Flex told him that Tupac and his people jumped him, and that the same thing could happen to him as well, cause he's cool with Dre. Sam Snead didn't know that Suge and Pac had an issue with him. The night after Snoop was acquitted of murder on February 20th, meaning 3 days after the alleged meeting in the Red Room where Dre and Pac had an argument, Suge wanted to throw a party with the Death Row family at his favorite restaurant, the straight out of The Godfather Monty's Steakhouse. But before the celebration, they wanted to hold a meeting at the recording facility of Death Row Records, which again was Can-Am Studios. According to Kurt Cobain, who was a producer working for Death Row at the time, the purpose of the meeting was to announce Dre's departure from the label, and to turn everybody on Death Row against him. Because all the artists on the label were left in limbo, and didn't know which side to take, since it was Dre who made most of them famous. They all joined the label because of Dre, but Suge was the one who's paying everyone's bills.
I don't know the rest of them.
They all knew that leaving the label would mean that they're left with nothing, and have to start from scratch just like Dre. and most of them didn't even get paid for all their work yet. Some of them also had albums on the way which needed to be released. And Dre most likely wouldn't have signed them, cause he started caring less and less about them over the years. But these people were all left in confusion, as Dre was the genius behind Death Row's success. Him leaving created a rift within the label. You had those who secretly wanted to leave and join Dre's label, which again was impossible, since Suge wouldn't let any of them go. And then you had those who picked the side of Suge and saw Dre as a traitor. The purpose of the meeting was to ask people, which side are you on? Snoop, the Lady of Rage, and the Dog Pound were leaning more towards Dre, but they couldn't leave or share their opinion. Because not only would they lose everything, but they are also just a minority on the label, with Suge and the Ma Piru being in full control and making the majority. So everyone had to follow Suge for now, until the opportunity opens up for them to leave the label without putting their careers at risk. Suge also wanted to make clear that everything is in control, and that Dre leaving the company is actually a good thing. Prior to the meeting, Jay Flex got a call from Sam Snead, asking him if he should go. Jay Flex actually warned him and said it might be an ambush, since him and his team got beaten up by Pac's outlaws a few weeks prior. So he told him multiple times, don't go there. If they ask where I'm at, I'm out of town. I'm not going back up in that mother effer ever. But Sam Snead told him that he ain't scared and that he'll go there. Turns out that the whole meeting was about him. They wanted to take out the anger they had for Dre on someone close to him. They had already beaten up Jay Flex and the others. Now it was Sam Snead's turn. He had actually produced the song Blueberry off the Dogfather album, for which he wanted to get paid, even though Snoop had helped Sam Snead with his album Street Scholars for free, and now Sam is asking for money. So some of the people on Death Row disliked him just for that.
Damn.
But there was more. He was also cool with Dre and the people Tupac and the Outlaws beat up a few weeks prior. Plus there was something else that Suge wanted to address at the meeting, which Sam Snead didn't know about. He had no clue what was going on. So Sam Snead came to the K&M studios and went directly to the cafeteria where the producer Kurt Cobain, Lady of Rage, and a couple of other people were talking about music. The Lady of Rage asked Sam Snead for beats, and then Tupac came in. Him and Sam Snead made eye contact and then started talking like it was all good. Sam Snead then said, "Man, I got some beats for you, Pac." To which Pac responded, "Is that right?" Yeah. And everything was fine at first. Then 10 minutes later they went to the Red Room for the meeting. And Daz Dillinger's baby mama, Kenya Ware, wasn't allowed to come in and had to stay outside. In the Red Room you had the Dog Pound, Nate Dogg, OFTB, Kurt Cobain, the Lady of Rage, the group 6 Feet Deep, Michelle, Tupac, the Outlaws, Suge's homeboys, and also the producer Butter, who Tupac held back when the Outlaws beat up Jay Flex and Jay Boogie. He was standing there quiet as a church mouse, scared as hell, not knowing what to do. Suge had invited Sam Snead there and wanted to take out his anger on him, cause he was mad that Dre left the label, which is ironic because he was actually the one who reached out to Jimmy Iovine to take Dre off the label. So there was no point of him getting mad, cause Dre did what Suge wanted him to do. But Tupac also convinced Suge that Dre stabbed Snoop in the back by not appearing in court. Sam Snead and Butter were the only ones of Dre's clique who were still there. Suge was sitting at his desk all by himself, smoking a cigar while facing everybody in the room. Over 20 people were lined up in different corners of the Red Room. Everybody was standing with their backs towards the wall except Sam Snead, who was actually standing in the middle of the room, close to the circle of the Death Row emblem on the ground. So you had people standing all around Sam Snead. Suge had a projector right next to him, showing the music video to Sam Snead's song Lady Heron, which also featured Jay Flex. They all watched the video and Suge then turned to Sam to ask him some questions. "So Sam, Do you see any Death Row people in this video?
Oh shit.
He then started pointing at random people in the room, asking them, hey, was you in the video? No. Was you in the video? No. Hey, you back there. Was you in the video? No. Suge smoked his cigar and then asked Sam, who the F you signed to? No response. Yeah, who the F you signed to? I'm signed to Death Row. Sam Snead responded. Suge twitched with his shoulders, smoked his cigar for a bit, and then asked, who the F pays you? Death Row. Who the F pays for your videos and your albums and everything to be made? Death Row. Why ain't nobody from Death Row in the video?
Oh, see, man.
It's only New York people. Sam Snead was speechless and super nervous. He looked around, not knowing what was going on. He was in the middle of the room and everybody stared at him from all directions. Sam was expecting them to speak up because he had invited everyone from Death Row to come to the video. But nobody showed up, since Dre's team was super unpopular and they were treated like outsiders. They didn't like him for different reasons. And now he's taking the blame because nobody came to his video, except people from New York. So it was almost like a setup. First you don't go to his video and then punish him because nobody showed up. He was already on thin ice with Suge and Pac, as he, in their opinion, had featured too many guest appearances by East Coast rappers in his music video for the song Lady Heron. In the middle of the East-West War, shortly after Snoop and the Dogg Pound got shot at in New York. And he didn't feature anybody from Death Row, even though they were the ones paying for it. So Sam Snead was only promoting New York rappers in his West Coast music video. I mean, Sam Snead ain't from the West Coast, but he's on a West Coast label, and he's supposed to represent the West Coast. That's what Suge and Pac expected him to do. The video featured rappers like Big Chuck and Kool G Rap. The latter is a rap legend from New York, who had collaborated with another New York giant called Nas, a guy who was cool with a lot of the enemies of Death Row, and also with Dr.DRE. Again, Pac and Suge at the time were in F New York mode. There were multiple rumors floating around that Dre had left Death Row to go work with people on the East Coast. Like Nas, for example, who had a rap group called The Firm, which Dre later signed to his label Aftermath. Dre was also working on Nas's sophomore album at the time, was producing beats for The Firm, and also featured Nas on his Aftermath sampler. Nas ended up playing a huge role in Dre's beef with Tupac. I will touch on that later. G-Rap was one of Nas's biggest inspirations. I mean, he's credited as the godfather of mafioso rap. And Nas's upcoming project was a mafioso rap album. All the major gangster rappers on the East Coast were inspired by G-Rap, especially between 94 and 97, when mafioso rap was the biggest trend on the East Coast. So G-Rap inspired the rappers who later claimed the title King of New York for themselves, like Biggie, Raekwon the Chef, Nas, Jay-Z. Pac ended up beefing with 3 of those, and G-Rap was their idol. There were also rumors that G-Rap had a problem with Tupac dissing the East Coast, that he was talking down his rapping skills, saying that Pac is not even a lyricist, just a guy with a big mouth, who knows how to grab people's attention. And this is supposedly coming from one of the East Coast legends, which Sam Snead is trying to promote.
Shit, freestyle.
And Nas were also cool with Pac's enemies on the East Coast. The rappers from Queens especially. Mobb Deep, Capone Noriega, Tragedy Gaddafi, Royal Flush. The rappers from Queens were really looking forward to battle the people from Death Row. They already had a Snoop and Dogg Pound diss track out called LA, which originally used the same beat as the Dogg Pound's New York, New York. So yeah, Pac was keeping an eye on them and everyone close to them, Nas and G-Rap included. Pac wanted to wait and see what Nas had to say, with Dre quote-unquote switching sides and producing for him, just like his best friend Big Stretch, who also produced for Nas's upcoming album. I will cover the beef with Nas in a separate video. Everyone associated to Biggie, Dre and Mobb Deep was on the hit list. And Sam Snead was not only a friend of Dre, but he was closer to the people on the East Coast than he was to Death Row. Before Sam Snead could explain himself, Pac walked up to him and stood right in front of his face. He then asked him about Dre. Sam was put on the spot to pledge his disloyalty to his good friend Dre, and Suge was eager to give Tupac a chance to prove that he was embracing his gangster side and not the love and unity vibe he pushed earlier in his career. Pac asked him, "Is Dre gay? Have you ever seen Dre do anything gay?" They wanted Sam Snead to confirm that Dre was gay, but Sam had no clue about Dre's love life and had never seen any signs for that. He refused to say that Dre was gay and just said no. Pac immediately punched him in the face.
Damn, Pac.
Sam Snead fell to the ground, got up, and Pac went at him again. Nobody tried to stop him, in fear that they would get beaten up too. Sam wasn't even trying to fight back. He was scared and confused, because he had just offered Tupac some beats and everything was cool. But Pac did a whole 180 in just 15 minutes. Went at him as if he's his biggest enemy. After Pac punched him a few times, Suge asked him, "Why you never went to Snoop's trial?" And Sam was like, "Well, Dre told me to just sit back and not to go." That's when Suge pointed at others and said, "Let me ask y'all a question. How many times y'all been to Snoop's trial?" And they responded, "We went every day you called." "Y'all went every day then, right?" And they said, "We went every time he had to be there. We were there." Suge then said, "Well, maybe y'all need to kick him in his ass." 6'8" from the group 6 feet deep was standing in the front, and everyone was looking at him, so he went ahead and kicked him. Everyone was always trying to please Suge at the time. People were racing to be the one that gets to do the dirty work for him. And then the Outlaws attacked him too. It was a one-sided beating. Some people were laughing, but Daz and Nate Dogg were a little scared, because they were the only Crips there. They reached for their guns just in case the Bloods tried to jump them. Nobody knew what was about to happen next, because again, there were 3 factions on Death Row: the Mob Piru, the Crips, and the ones who weren't part of any gang. Sam Snead was trying to crawl under one of the tables, hoping that they would stop. So this was the second time now that Tupac physically assaulted Dre's artists. The Outlaws were trying to drag him back from under the table, but the fight was then broken up. Suge supposedly called Michelle to the front and said, "Michelle, have you ever seen Dre do anything gay?" Then, according to the producer Kurt Cobain, she told a story about Dre's best friend Bruce Williams, the guy who hooked up Dre and Nicole. Michelle said Bruce and Dre were in the bed together. She didn't actually see them, but she came to that conclusion after calling Dre on the phone in their bedroom, back when Dre and Michelle were living together. She was surprised when Bruce answered the phone. Michelle then asked him, "Can I speak to my boyfriend?" And Bruce said, "Yeah," while handing the phone over to Dre.
Let's go chat, turn
Michelle
my boy up.
asked herself why Dre and Bruce were in their bedroom together, because the two wanted to get married, and that was their bedroom. What was Bruce doing there right next to Dre, in the bedroom? After telling the story, Suge said, "That's why that mother effer ain't on Death Row. He's a effing F-slur." Pac then yelled from the back, "Get ass Dre." Everyone in the room was confused. A few people then repeated what Pac said. "Yeah, F Dre." But according to Michelle, she didn't say any of those things during that meeting. It shouldn't be a surprise that Michelle was pissed when Dre left the label. Many people have confirmed that she was the one who instigated the beef between Suge and Dre. Even if Michelle denies that the story is true, Suge is fully convinced that it's true. He has told the same story a million times since 1996. The rumor about Bruce and Dre has been around ever since Dre left the label, and they have addressed it in songs, music videos, and on album covers. But more on that later. Bruce was actually close with Michelle before finding out that it was him who brought Nicole and Dre together. Bruce was at
No
Dre's
super
house
friends, I
almost
got it
every
right,
day.
went straight
So it's
YouTube.
possible that Michelle made up this lie about Dre and Bruce sleeping together as a way to get her revenge, since Dre dumped her for Nicole, and Bruce made it possible by hooking them up, even though he was friends with Michelle and knew that she was engaged to Dre. Bruce later blamed Michelle for setting him up because Suge sent goons to him, threatening him over Dre not returning certain items when he left the label. But anyway, back to the meeting with Sam Snead. To add to the humiliation, they forced him to come with them to Snoop's acquittal party at Monty's Steakhouse. Sam Snead was there running around smiling as if nothing happened. His face was all bruised up, lip and eye swollen. He also had knots on his face. But he had to sit there and eat a steak in that state in front of all the others, so that everybody understands what happens if you upset Suge Knight, or choose to be cool with his enemies. The entire jury of Snoop's murder trial was there too, eating steak with Suge Knight. After that, Sam Snead never returned to the Death Row offices, which means that his debut album Street Scholars was cancelled.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump on.
Again, he chose to go to that meeting so that his album doesn't get cancelled. But they cancelled it anyway, because Sam Snead disappeared without a trace. Nobody from Death Row was able to find him. He didn't want to be part of such an ugly environment. I never saw those people again, and that's a good thing, he said years later. Jay Flex actually saw Sam Snead the next day. He was bruised up and said, "Man, that was some BS." To which Jay Flex responded, "Bro, I told you not to go.
Yeah.
I told you it's an ambush, homie." The producer Butter then stayed away from Death Row and reached out to Dr. Dre to work with him on the next project, which ended up being the Aftermath label sampler, for which Butter produced 6 songs. Then Michelle and Dre ran into each other at a seafood restaurant called Duke's in Malibu. He told her that he's now engaged to Nicole and that Michelle can be his mistress, meaning he offered her to go from being his fiancée of 9 years to being his mistress next to his wife Nicole, who of course didn't know about any of this. And that's what Pac later meant when he said that Dre cheated on his wife. He was still trying to make Michelle his mistress, who of course declined the offer, and Dre supposedly got mad, asking her about Suge, saying that he found out about them. That was the last time Michelle saw him. Dre also had an encounter with Suge around that time. Suge wanted to make sure that Dre doesn't release the songs he made for the Chronic 2 on Aftermath, like the original version of California Love, for example, and also all the songs he recorded after the Chronic, just to make sure that he has no album to release on his new label, because he hadn't dropped an album in 4 years, and the Chronic 2 was almost finished. He sabotaged Dre in a way that he has to work another 3 years in order to complete an album, because that's how long it took him to drop his next solo album called 2001, which technically would have been his 3rd album. So 4 years of work went down the drain. Suge wanted Dre to lose all his hype and become irrelevant. So yeah, the reason why Dre didn't have music to release is because Suge paid him a visit and took all the masters. Since Dre didn't work at K&M Studios, but had his own studio at home, all the masters and all the music he produced were in Dre's basement, and Suge had no access to them. He didn't know what Dre was working on, and what Dre had in the chamber. Just because you don't come to K&M doesn't mean that you can keep all the music.
At Chasing the Sun
you recorded those songs for Death Row, while you were part of the label.
Stop talking.
So it's Death Row material. You're not taking any...
I got something for your ass, because you said this shit. You got me all the way fucked up. Fuck, you can go watch this shit on your own, nigga. Ooh, don't make me be a nigga today. Hold on, Chad. Nigga said stop talking. I don't know who the fuck he think he talking to. You get ratchet real quick. I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna go ahead and get his ass out of here. Thank you.
Anything with you. That's how Suge felt. So one day, him and his Ma Peru goons paid Dre a visit at his house in Calabasas. it's a gated community. So at the entrance, in order for Dre to let him in, he told the security guard that he's Jimmy Iovine. So Dre was told that Jimmy Iovine, the guy who just signed him a big check to launch his new label, is in front of the gates wanting to see him, asking if he can come in. So Dre allowed the security guard to let Suge through the gates, thinking that it's Jimmy Iovine. Dre was shocked when he saw Suge and his goons in front of the entrance to his house, and immediately tried to go get his gun. But his fiancée Nicole convinced him not to. As soon as Dre opened the door to ask what he wants, Suge and his goons came in without asking for permission. They were running around the house. Suge then sat on Dre's couch and smoked a cigar, waiting for Dre to bring the masters.
Get it here.
Dre went to the studio and got him all the tapes and music he produced while he was on death row, excluding the song Blunt Time, which Pac supposedly rapped on. He somehow managed to keep that song for himself, so that he can put it out on Aftermath. Suge took everything else, including the unreleased tracks for The Chronic 2, and also the original version of California Love, so that he can't release it on Aftermath. Dre of course wasn't happy about it, but he just wanted to move on. So he never sued him for any of those tapes, or for money in general. Meaning Dre gave Suge his share of the company for free.
He was happy here on his
but now Dre was in fear for his life, and for the life of his fiancée Nicole, since Suge and his people knew his address and could easily reach him. That was part of the reason why he wanted to buy a new house and get away from there. It was very easy for Michelle to break in, and if she can do it, everyone can do it. So for the next few weeks, Dre and Nicole looked for a new place. Dre's label Aftermath Entertainment was then officially launched on March 22nd, and his departure from the label Death Row was then made public. Just like Sam Snead, Dre's ghostwriter Jay Flex couldn't leave and join Dre's label, due to his ongoing contract and him being afraid of Suge. But Dre told Jay Flex to continue writing for him, and that he'll take care of his deal, meaning that he'll sign him to Aftermath Entertainment, which he never did. On April 19th, 1996, Pac graced the airwaves of KMEL Radio's West Side Radio program in San Francisco. And for the first time ever, he publicly spoke about Dre's departure from the label. He said that Dre leaving Death Row doesn't affect them, and he also expressed his disappointment in Dre for not coming to Snoop's murder trial, even though he needed help and could have been locked up for the rest of his life, implying that he stabbed him in the back, even though Snoop was the one who helped Dre to get back on his feet after leaving NWA and after getting destroyed by Ice Cube in a rap beef.
Dre's doing his own thing. It don't affect us. Snoop was on trial for murder, fighting for his life. Somebody had said that Dre was in the car. The jury believed that. We needed Dre to be there to say he wasn't there. And once they would have saw him, they would have known he wasn't there. And that would have saved Snoop's whole case. Because they would have saw that the witness that had said it was lying. And Dre never showed up. He was too busy. That's how they told me. When they told me that, I was like, well, no matter how dope he is, and Dre's one of my heroes in the music business, but I was like, no matter how dope he is, if you're not down for his homeboy, Snoop, who brought him back when he was just a relic, when he was dissing him, you know what I mean? Then I don't want to be a part of him. I don't want to be around him or nothing.
He also mentioned a certain incident without actually going into detail. It's supposedly one of those things that's happened behind the scenes that made him not want to hang out with Dre anymore. It's something that he didn't want to make public at the time, as if it's a big secret involving Dre that could possibly hurt Dre's status and reputation in hip-hop, making people understand why they're distancing themselves from him.
Plus, I feel as though what's done in the dark will come to light. It's secrets that everybody's gonna find out about that I don't have to play a hate or dry snitch about. That will come out, you'll find out for yourself, and you'll know why I did it.
People to this day still speculate on what Pac could have possibly known about Dre that would have changed people's perception and impression of him. Some say it was about Dre having a romantic relationship with his best friend Bruce Williams. Others say that Pac knew about Dre cheating on his fiancée Nicole. What we do know is that Pac would later start calling Dre gay in his music and in interviews. So this part of the interview could indeed be about Bruce. On May 6th, Dre bought a mansion for him and his girlfriend Nicole for over $3 million. There were a lot of rumors that Dre received death threats from Suge's camp, and that he moved away to feel more secure, since Suge had shooters and gang members who were ready to kill for him. There were also rumors floating around that Suge and his people beat up Dre in a meeting after a financial disagreement, which supposedly was the main reason why he left the label. But both Dre and Suge have shut down those rumors and denied that anything like that happened. On May 25th, Dre married Nicole, while Suge and Michelle Lay got engaged, even though Suge was already married to a woman named Sharitha. Around the same time, the producers William Stewart and Teddy Riley produced a beat for a song that they later named No Diggity by flipping a Bill Withers sample. The first few seconds of the song Grandma's Hands.
Oh, that was that song came
They
from.
first wanted to give the beat to a band named Guy, but they failed to record any material. They then offered the song to Guy's lead singer Aaron Hall, who for whatever reason refused to take part in recording the song. But he would later record vocals for it when Suge and Tupac stole the beat.
Oh, they
So he
stole it?
basically refused to work on the original song No Diggity, but later agreed to work on the Death Row version called Toss It Up, for which they stole Teddy Riley's beat. They did it behind his back, just because Dre ended up on No Diggity. Suge and Pac got their hands on the beat thanks to the singer Aaron Hall and the people working at Interscope, who informed Suge Knight about anything involving Dre. It took a long time for Teddy Riley to finish the song. He didn't really know what to do with the beat. Guy and Aaron Hall declined the offer, so Teddy gave the beat to the group Blackstreet, but they wanted him to sing the first verse before they start working on it, cause they weren't really sure what to do with the beat. So Teddy lays down his verse and Blackstreet jumps on it too. Now they had an early version of the song No Diggity, without Dre and the rapper Queen Pen. Teddy Riley then brought a copy of the song to the president of Interscope Records, Jimmy Iovine, and convinced him to put it out as the lead single to Blackstreet's upcoming album Another Level. But Jimmy wasn't quite happy with the record yet. He had just helped Dre to start his own record company, and then thought of doing him a favor by letting Dre jump on the track so that he can have a strong comeback, since Suge took away all his songs. Dre needed to release the next club banger to show people that this is just the beginning, that leaving Death Row only made him stronger, at a time when everyone was saying that Dre fell off and that he should have stayed on the label. He had to show the world that leaving the company was the right decision, and that he can be successful by himself. Plus, him and Suge were competing. Both sides wanted to be more successful than the other and drop better music than their competition. Cause Dre said in an interview that he'll put out better records on Aftermath than Death Row ever could. And Suge wanted to show Dre that they don't need him, that the label is better off with Pac taking over Dre's position. Suge just didn't want to end up as the loser of the beef. Instead of having faith in the artists on the label and just competing fairly to see which label drops the better music, Suge had to resort to doing shady things to sabotage his competition, instead of letting their art speak for itself. Suge behaves like a little baby when it comes to arguments and disagreements. He can never be wrong, always cutting corners, cheating and sabotaging the opponent. Like stealing people's beats, ideas, threatening people to not work with the competition, trademarking names, ideas and titles so that the competition can't use them. All this while Dre is just trying to put out good music. Suge had spies on Interscope that informed him about Dre's next moves, and also the direction he wants to take with his music. His concepts and ideas, the songs he's currently working on, beats that get sent around, and samples that need to be cleared so that Dre can use them. Suge was getting informed about everything, and getting copies of Dre's music.
Damn,
just
snitches.
like when they spied on Tupac when he was working on his Thug Style album. Death Row had a reputation for spying on people and then using people's ideas before them. That's exactly what Suge planned to do after finding out that Dre was about to jump on the song No Diggity. After Teddy Riley's meeting with Jimmy Iovine, where Jimmy told him that he'll ask Dre if he wants to get on the song, Teddy went to New York before hearing back from Dre, which Jimmy Iovine got a little mad about because he knew that Suge would try to sabotage them before Teddy and Dre are able to link up and finish the song No Diggity. But Teddy had to go back to work on some music, and that's when he got a call from Suge Knight. Suge said, "Yo, little man, I need to come and meet with you." Teddy then said, "Okay, I'm in New York." Suge then cut him off and said, "I know where you are." To which Teddy responded, "Okay, when you gonna come? Give me a day, or 24 hours, I'll be up there." Suge knew exactly where Teddy was. He was in one of the studios in the Hit Factory. Suge's spies had informed him about his exact locations.
Damn.
And Teddy felt threatened.
Secret Service.
"I'll call you," Suge said. Okay. Teddy was speechless. A day later, Suge called him and said, "I'm on my way." Okay. He was scared and didn't know what to expect. Suge Knight then came and they met up in the dining room. He said, "You don't need your bodyguards. Don't worry about it. We good." He had a cigar in his mouth and was looking intimidating as always. He said, "I came to talk to you about a proposition I want to make." And Teddy said, "Okay." Suge then continued, "You know, I want to do this big thing where we can take over Interscope. And I want to get Jimmy. Put $2 million on your table. Give you a budget so we can go and take over R&B and rap." Suge originally wanted the song No Diggity for his artists on Death Row, just to sabotage Dre, by offering Teddy to work with him and the artists on Death Row instead of working with Blackstreet and Dre. Teddy Riley knew that he couldn't just say no, because he was afraid of Suge, thinking that Suge's people might do something to him. Teddy asked, "Okay, so what you need me to do?" Suge then said, "Well, we got Jodeci, I got Devontae, I got Aaron Hall, I got Danny Boy. We got the heavy hitters. You're the missing piece." Teddy then thought of the saying, "If you can't beat them, join them." So he said, "Okay, let me think about it." And after that, he never called him back, which didn't stop Suge and the people from Death Row to just take the song and the idea, regardless of the producer agreeing to it or not. Tupac and the people from Death Row were fast workers. They didn't take as long as Dre to make music. Suge knew that. That's why he wanted to use the beat for No Diggity and put it out with Tupac rapping on it. So he wanted to release Pac's version before Dre's version comes out, so that people think that Pac's version is the original. With Teddy Riley not reaching out, they got their own producers Reggie Moore and Demetrius Shipp to sample No Diggity and produce Toss It Up, which sounded almost exactly the same as Teddy Riley's song. Same beat, just different artists. That was the first version of Toss It Up, recorded on June 7th, 1996, 3 days after Hit 'Em Up came out. They replaced Teddy Riley and Blackstreet with Casey and JoJo, Danny Boy and Aaron Hall. So they convinced Aaron Hall to appear on the stolen version of No Diggity, after declining Teddy's offer to appear on the original version. The song Toss It Up was betrayal on numerous levels. On top of that, they added a Tupac verse in the beginning, who was beefing with Dre at the time. It was supposed to be a club banger just like No Diggity. Yes, the final version of Toss It Up became a diss track, but at first it only had one Tupac verse, the first one, where he raps about love, passion and sex. The second verse with the disses wasn't planned and came later, so it wasn't supposed to be a diss track at first,
No longer Dr.
even
Dre.
though stealing the records and putting their rivals on it was already disrespectful enough. They wanted Toss It Up to play on the radio and in the clubs before No Diggity comes out, so that people can get used to the sound and care less for Dre's version a few weeks later. Nobody wants to hear a new song with the same sample and the same beats of a club banger that people already got used to.
We hear that all
No Diggity wouldn't be new and fresh anymore, and would ultimately sell less with the release of Toss It Up. And Suge really thought he would get away with it, thinking that Teddy Riley would cancel the version with Dre. They changed the lyrics but interpolated the bridge in No Diggity. They were done with the record before No Diggity was fully recorded and released. The plan was to pay Teddy Riley $2 million to come work with them, but he indirectly rejected the offer by not calling back. So now the offer was off the table. Oh, if you don't want to get paid for it, then we'll just do it for free, without your approval. They went to plan B, made their own version of the record by sampling it, so that Pac's version blows up before Dre's comes out. It would not only be a low-effort hit record for Pac by taking away Dre's shine, but it would also make people compare Pac's version to Dre's once No Diggity comes out, so that hip-hop fans can accuse Dre of trying to make a cheap comeback by biting Pac, as Pac's song would come out first, and Dre would have to defend himself in interviews, creating drama and confusion out of nowhere, which would damage Dre's reputation in the rap game, even though he did nothing wrong. Cause once certain accusations are in the room, it's nearly impossible to get rid of them. Even if you tell the truth, there will always be some people who won't believe you. Dre wanted no beef, but Pac and Suge did, so they kept provoking him. They knew how fast hip-hop fans jump to conclusions. Oh, look at this. Dre ran out of ideas, and now the only thing he can do to make a comeback is to copy Death Row, after turning his back on them, saying that they only held him back. Dre really fell off. He should have stayed on Death Row. That's what Pac and Suge wanted to make everyone think. They wanted everyone to come to the conclusion that Pac and Death Row will always drop better music than Dre after he left the label. Pac had a huge hype back then. He had become the highest selling rapper, and people were hungry to hear more music from him, even though he had just dropped a double album. In '96, people cared more about Pac than Dre, and Suge wanted to use that to their advantage. They became so obsessed with Dre that they wanted to do everything they could so that Dre stays in their shadow. Give him a slow start and a hard time to recover. They were bitter and couldn't just leave the man alone. This was a very petty move, which Teddy Riley of course had a problem with, cause once he heard the first version of Toss It Up on the radio, he called Jimmy Iovine, asking him to do something about it. Jimmy, what's this ish I hear on the radio? They sampled our record. What the hell is going on? It's Tupac on there. You put Tupac on the record? To which Jimmy responded, what are you talking about?
1442
Jimmy, it's a record.
said,
this is your label.
Yes, Suge deserves his
Interscope
current
was the
position.
distributor of Death Row Records. So Teddy assumed that it was Jimmy who gave the song to Tupac. But it was Suge. He was the one that stole the record after getting informed by his spies working at Interscope. Jimmy was shocked and confused. He didn't understand how they were able to hear about the song and Dre wanting to get on it, as it was a well-kept secret. He was also surprised by how fast Pac was able to put that song out, because Teddy's record was almost done before Pac got informed about it. All they needed was Dre to send in an 8-bar verse. But in the meantime, Death Row had already made their version of the song and put it on the radio. Pac was a beast. There aren't too many rappers who can make a better version of your song in such a short amount of time, while mastering your style, putting out the record before you. I mean, Pac only needed 1 day, and Teddy Riley multiple weeks. Everyone was shocked, and they couldn't let them get away with it. Jimmy Iovine then said, I'll call you back, and then issued the label with a cease and desist order, stopping Death Row from distributing the song Toss It Up. The version they put on the radio shared close similarities to Blackstreet's No Diggity. The cease and desist order forced Death Row to go back and reproduce the song so that it doesn't sound too similar. Thank God, because the song only got better after they remade it. But Pac and Suge weren't too happy about it and wanted payback. They thought Dre was using Jimmy Iovine to fight his wars for him. And Teddy was under the impression that Suge was mad at him for not reaching out and continuing to work with Dre. So Teddy Riley was viewed as Death Row's enemy. Jimmy Iovine then called him back and said, "Don't worry about it. It's taken care of. The record is off the radio." The plans to release Toss It Up were then pushed back. They first needed to find a way to remake it so that Jimmy Iovine can't take it off the radio. Pac had other projects to work on, so he pushed it to the side. He went and worked on the One Nation album, with about a dozen rappers from the East Coast, in order to get the East Coast-West Coast war under control, by collaborating with artists on the East Coast. Shortly after dropping the legendary diss track Hit 'Em Up, which is seen as the most destructive song during that coastal war, as he was essentially beefing with the biggest rappers from New York. The One Nation album was supposed to show that Pac doesn't want to go to war with an entire coast, that he has still love for his friends, fans and supporters from the opposite coast. Around the same time, Dre went to the studio to record his verse for No Diggity. The female rapper Queen Pen jumped on it too, and Teddy Riley added some finishing touches before the record was done. That same month, Dre also did an interview and photo shoot for the Source magazine. He actually made it on the cover in July, with the headline "Exclusive, Dr. Dre leaves Death Row." During the interview, Dre told his side of the story and explained why he decided to leave the label. The chapter was called Life After Death, which ironically became the title of the second album of Tupac's biggest enemy, the Notorious B.I.G.
Dr. Dre wanted to produce Hit 'Em Up. He really pretty much wanted to remix it, put his name on it. He's like, "Man, I heard that record y'all did, Hit 'Em Up," talking to me and a few other outlets. He's like, "Man, y'all should let me do the record." But Pac, you know, he was loyal to Johnny J.
Dre had actually made peace with Biggie, which of course infuriated Tupac. This sole interview actually contains numerous jabs at Tupac, along with indirect shoutouts to Biggie. He also addressed some of the rumors that were going around at the time, like Dre getting beaten down by Suge and Tupac, and him having to fear for his life due to all the death threats. Dre cleared up some of those rumors by saying that he was actually chilling in his mansion, spending time building his new label, and working together with artists from New York such as Nas and KRS-One. So none of the rumors are true. He played one of the songs he was working on for the interviewer. It's called East Coast West Coast Killers, featuring the rappers KRS-One, Nas, Be Real and RBX. A song that was supposed to bring the East Coast and West Coast together during the whole East-West feud that his old label Death Row was making worse and worse. He then commented on his departure from the label. "I felt like I helped build Death Row up to a point where I didn't leave nobody high and dry. I am the one taking the risk. I stepped away from all that and started all the way over. I should look like one of the stupid ones, although they lost one of the best producers in the world."
Yeah, I seen your message, man.
Then he was asked if something had happened that made him want to leave the label, to which Dre responded, "It was nothing that happened. Actually, it was an accumulation of a lot of little-ish, and it got to the point where I wasn't having fun at Death Row anymore. It's like I want to go up to the studio and work, and it's like 50 mother effers in the studio I don't know. They are all in your ear while you're trying to work, so I decided to just bounce." He thought that by getting his own studio in his house in Calabasas, things would improve. But they didn't. It only got worse. Like explained earlier, he liked working alone, which Tupac and Suge had a problem with. Dre wasn't coming to Can-Am Studios to record with all the other artists on Death Row. He had his own team and recorded in his own studio. And that hurt the label, because every artist needed Dre to take a look at their music and put his final stamp on it, so that it can actually be released. Dre didn't want anyone to release albums without his approval. cause he only wanted to release high quality music. They were not able to work together. You can't just send 50 artists to Dre's house to record some music. And you also can't force the co-owner of the label to come to the studio when he doesn't like being there. When he's unable to make music with 50 people in the studio. They couldn't find a common ground, meaning a way to make music where every artist can work comfortably and where they can make records faster and more efficiently. Because at first they didn't have that many artists on the label, so putting out one album per year was completely fine. But now they had multiple platinum artists on the team who needed to release music frequently to not lose their hype in the rap game. And there were new artists joining the label almost every week. For Dre, it just got out of control. He couldn't focus on his own career anymore and had too many responsibilities. Had to work with and keep an eye on 50 people he doesn't care about, while slowing down his own career. And most of them were people Dre didn't even know, cause Suge was busy signing one artist after another. It got to the point in the studio where brothers were sticking their hands out like, yo, what's up? We just signed to the label. And I was like, I don't even know you. I feel like this. I made everybody a lot of money there. I made the people I worked with at Death Row superstars and gave them careers. Now they can move on and do their thing. And I'm going to move on and do my thing. I haven't talked to Suge in months. I hear all kinds of rumors. It's a million effing rumors floating around. I've gotten shot, I've gotten beaten up, and all this all-ish. Ain't nothing happened to me, and ain't nothing gonna happen to me. Dre is at home and in the studio. That's it. I don't go to no clubs no more. I don't hang out. If I wanna hang out, it's just the people I know real good, and we chill like that. Everybody knows where I live. I don't really think it's Suge's mentality or Tupac's mentality. Just when the people come around, they start pumping Ish up. They're like, "Aw man, you ain't gonna do Ish about this guy?" Now this part is pretty funny. Pac actually read this and then asked Suge for Dre's address, cause they knew that Dre moved to a new house. So Pac wanted to know where it is, so that he can pay him a visit just like Suge did to get the masters. Pac only went to Dre's old house, back when he made Can't See Me. He always asked Suge for Dre's new address so that he can drive there and whoop his ass. Tell us where the guy live. Where he live at, Suge? Where he at? Where he live? Oh, this guy won't tell me where he live. He still love that guy. He still love that guy. Suge and Pac were always joking around like that. Suge told him how they paid him a visit back when they came to get the masters. How they scared him in his own house. For them, Dre was nothing but a punk. Dre then said, both Suge and Tupac know I never did Ish but tried to help both of them. We all stay paid like a mother effer. We still doing the same Ish. We're just doing it on a different label. A lot of the mother effers that are around Death Row are either jealous or miserable, because they are not in the position you are. They want Suge and Tupac to be mad at Dre and want to get at me. That pumps them up, but I know deep down inside they know what's up with Dre. That guy look out. He made Ish happen. I felt like I helped build Death Row up to a point where I didn't leave nobody high and dry. They are at a point now where anything that comes out on Death Row, people are gonna check it out. And I helped build that. If they put out hit records, I think it will be all good. I am the one taking the risk. I stepped away from all that and started all the way over. So I am the one with the risk, not Death Row.
Come on
I
guys,
should
we
look
got
like one of the stupid ones.
169
Although
and here
they
and
lost
only
one of the best
22
producers
thumbs
in
up.
the
Show
world.
my boy some
To
red
me,
heart, hit
that
that
should
thumbs
make
up
them
and
work
like
harder.
the channel. Show
If I
some
had a
love.
dope-ass
HB works
producer
hard for
and he's
these
gone
live
to
and
do some
videos.
new-ish, I would be trying to prove something
with
to him.
all respect.
Like, homie,
appreciate
we
that,
can
bro.
do this ish without you. Cause I am definitely finna show Death Row that I can
Shout
make
out,
hit
Tony.
records just as big, if not bigger, on my own. It's all good. This right here was an indirect shot at Pac and Suge, around the time when they were working on No Diggity and Toss It Up. Going head to head, trying to release the better record. Both sides were confident that their version is better, and will be the bigger record. Pac and Suge were always trying to push Dre to work faster and harder, in order for them to release more songs, telling Dre, look how many hits we did without you, all while you're busy doing one song. We are already done recording entire albums. Now Dre is challenging them to go toe-to-toe with hits, to see which way of making music is superior. Dre's quality over quantity type strategy, which puts the focus on one album per year, or Pac's 3 songs per day, 10 producers on one album, 20 people in the studio type approach. With them more or less doing a race and seeing each other as competition, Suge wanted to sabotage Dre to make their approach look superior. He wanted everyone to think that he was right, and that Dre was wrong, that he made a mistake, that Dre needs Death Row more than Death Row needs Dre. The whole thing about taking his masters, having spies on Interscope, getting copies of what Dre is planning to release in order to use his ideas beforehand, just to play with him and give him a headache. Dre didn't really see Tupac as a threat. At least that's what he's trying to make us believe in this interview. According to him, Snoop Dogg is actually the most important rapper on Death Row, not Tupac. Dre was still not acknowledging him as one of the giants in the industry. He was then asked why Snoop didn't come to Aftermath. That's a difficult situation. Snoop is the most valuable asset at Death Row. He can't just walk away, you know what I mean? I wouldn't let him. Snoop is my boy, and he's gonna be my boy forever. But that has nothing to do with business. It's all good. He came through my house and played me a couple of cuts and all that. Who knows? Maybe in the future we might work together. Right now, I'm just concentrating on all the new artists, what I have. All the new Snoop Dogs. Not like that, but you know what I mean. Everybody from the label has called me up since the split up. They were like, whatever happens, it's all good. We got your back. It's all love. Only people at Death Row that I give respect and props to are the people that were involved with the Chronic album. That's Death Row. Everybody else, to me, just saw the bandwagon and hopped on it to make some money. This right here is obviously a shot at Tupac. He was the biggest artist who joined the label after the Chronic era. Dre literally said, only people that I give respect and props to are the people that were involved with the Chronic album. Meaning
I'm in
he
residential
doesn't
treatment,
respect or
getting
give
sober
props
and
to
stronger.
Tupac,
I'm using my
who, of
friend's
course,
baby.
took
I'm on my
offense to
friend's
it
account.
and
My
felt
name is Angel.
disrespected.
I'm 30 Latina
Dre
and I
also
eventually want to
responded
stream.
to the
Might need
rumors
to
that
help
Suge
boss
got angry
NBS.
because he didn't support Snoop at his murder trial in Los Angeles. According to Dre, Suge asked him, why weren't you there, Dre? And Dre responded, I don't like the effing courtroom. That's my reason for not going. I don't like going up there. And I never did. And I never will. I talk to the lawyers all the time. And I knew he was going to get off. And if Snoop wanted to chill, he came by the house and we kicked it. When I was locked down, Snoop didn't come and see me. I didn't take no offense to that ish. I was in jail. He was just in court. He never came down to visit me one time. Did I say anything about that? No. 'Cause I don't give a F. I don't even want you to see me in this effing cell. I will see you when I get home. This was also a response to Tupac's interview with Sway, where he expressed his disappointment in Dre for not coming to Snoop's trial.
Snoop was on trial for murder, fighting for his life. Somebody had said that Dre was in the car. The jury believed that. We needed Dre to be there to say he wasn't there. And once they would have saw him, they would have known he wasn't there. And that would have saved Snoop's whole case. Because they would have saw that the witness that had said it was lying. And Dre never showed up. He was too busy.
How is it Tupac gonna say something
At
about
Patricia
when it was
Schlosser
time to get all the shit?
7970.
For one,
Said,
I ain't got nothing
"This shit
bad
ain't
to say
typing my
about
bad
Tupac.
G."
But from what I heard, Tupac was like, F Dre.
At Patricia
They
Schlosser
had some type of death
7970.
row party and he was
Said,
all F Dre.
Yeah, I'ma need your
F
help
that.
NBS.
I ain't did nothing but help Tupac. I didn't have to give up that song. And what he talking about Dre jumped ship? Dre built the ship he's on right now. All that is
You got
BS.
TikTok and Instagram?
Dre then said
Just hit me
something
up
that
on that.
seriously upset Tupac. He praised the Notorious B.I.G. for the way he was handling the beef with Tupac. How he just avoided publicly speaking about Tupac after the release of Hit 'Em Up. Cause Pac wanted Biggie to respond. Dre made it seem like he's taking Biggie's side in the beef. To me, if somebody has a problem with me and he's all out in the open talking about it, then what he wants me to do is respond. I'm not going to satisfy him. Yeah, I think Biggie is doing the right thing by not responding to Ish. He's kicking it. Why should he respond? He's chilling and making money. Nobody knows what the F he's doing. If he ain't happy with his wife, he has girls around that's just doing what the F he wants them to do. He's happy as F, sitting in the jacuzzi, reading what so-and-so said about him and chilling. The same thing with me. I'll be sitting in the jacuzzi with a bottle of Cristal, laughing at mother effers that's out there talking about me. Dre was obviously trying to hit a nerve, showing Pac that neither him nor Biggie are taking him seriously, saying that they're laughing at him, having the best time in the world, while all Pac can do is complain about them.
I ain't know
Dre mentioned Pac's diss against Biggie while saying that he'll do the exact same thing as Big when Pac starts dissing him, implying that he's expecting diss tracks similar to Hit 'Em Up. Again, the interview is titled Life After Death, just like Biggie's upcoming album, which he would start promoting around that same time, telling the fans that it'll drop on Halloween, although it later got postponed. But yeah, it's not a coincidence that the interview and the album have the same title.
Damn, it's crazy.
Dre wanted to hit a nerve while making it seem like Pac doesn't bother him, making it seem like he's taking Biggie's side, and that they're laughing at him. Dre also addressed the whole East Coast West Coast war, while sending more shots at him in response to Hit 'Em Up, which was the most polarizing and important song during the entire East-West feud. All this East Coast West Coast-ish has gotta be the most stupid-ish I ever heard in life. It's just another way for mother effers that don't have the skills they need to keep up with the times to sell records. So if you get on a record and you're talking this East Coast West Coast-ish, it means you're just trying to jump aboard this concept. This part of the interview upset Tupac as well. To him, it seemed like Dre was talking slick,
what you watching?
Saying that rappers who participate
Tupac versus Dr. Dre. Beef documentary.
In this East Coast West Coast beef have no skills. This was said shortly after the release of Hit 'Em Up. So of course, the readers of the Source magazine interpreted those comments as jabs at Tupac, someone who didn't want to look like a punk who's afraid of responding to other rappers. He was always vocal about people who had an issue with him, and those who challenged or critiqued him always got a response from him. So now everyone was expecting Pac to strike back, thinking that he can't let him get away with this. Pac was desperately waiting for Dre to take the bait, so that he finally has a reason to drop diss tracks on him, cause he couldn't stand him. He wanted to end Dre's career, especially after his comments about Biggie and the East-West war. He felt...
How I feel about Pac? I love Pac. He was my favorite, one of my favorite, like top one favorite rappers. I love the he ride for our people and shit. Poetic, you know what I'm saying? I just think he got misled down on Suge Knight and Diddy and got all in it. If he didn't meet them people, he just did his own thing, he'd probably still alive to this day, man. But we gonna keep him going on. I'm gonna keep pushing these videos about Pac. I hope y'all enjoy. I hope y'all show up every time. Cause I got Ice Cube versus Tupac next. Then Friday I'm gonna do on Twitch. I can't do it on YouTube because it's copyrighted, so I gotta do it on Twitch. So y'all make sure y'all follow me on Twitch, Baby Jody 7413. I'm gonna do Poetic Justice. We're gonna react to some albums. We're gonna do All Eyes on Me Friday. That's gonna be the Machiavelli Day. Machiavelli Day is Friday, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all tune in to Machiavelli. We doing all his albums. We're gonna react to it. We're gonna watch All Eyes on Me. Poetic Justice, and I forgot the other movie he was in. We gonna watch that one too. So that's gonna be like a 12-hour stream. So y'all make sure y'all add me on Twitch.
Like Dre was dismissing all the things Pac went through, like the Quad Studio shooting in New York, where Biggie was present,
like I want to.
and Biggie calling the shots on Snoop and the Dog Pound. Dre made it seem like Pac is only dissing him to ride a wave, because it's the cool thing to do now, a trend that Pac follows. Just an easy way to sell records and to get attention. Quote unquote, just another way for mother effers that don't have the skills they need to keep up with the times to sell records. Just stupid and unnecessary. But their feud with the people on the East Coast was more than just a silly, fake industry beef that they continue to sell records. People got shot and killed on both sides.
Amen. Folded hands.
And
Can't
Pac was
nobody make me
expressing
think
his
different.
anger
Did he
and
sacrifice
frustrations
Biggie and
lyrically,
Pac?
thinking that Biggie and Puffy were involved in the Quad Studio shooting, in which Pac got shot 5 times. So it was way deeper than how Dre made it seem. And the comments about Biggie, the guy who quote unquote knew who shot him and is sitting in a jacuzzi laughing at him, really got under his skin and crossed the line. For Pac, it was a declaration of war, something that he has to respond to, especially after he appeared on Nas's album and talked about rappers stealing beats, which was obviously a shot at Tupac after the whole incident with No Diggity and Toss It Up. Cause on July 2nd, Nas's sophomore album It Was Written came out, and it contains a song called Nas Is Coming, which was produced by Dr.DRE, who's also featured on the record.
See, they ain't tell us all
in the
this.
intro, Nas and Dre talk about 2 things. First, people stealing beats, and second, the East Coast West Coast war.
I'm tired of these niggas stealing beats, niggas stealing your whole techniques and shit.
Nas addresses the incident of when Dre and Blackstreet did the song No Diggity together, how Suge went and stole the beats so that Pac can make Toss It Up. So these were jabs at Tupac. Nas also has a track on the album called Street Dreams, which uses the same sample as Pac's All Eyes on Me, which came out 5 months prior. So people thought Nas was accusing Tupac of stealing his beats, the same way they stole the No Diggity beats to make Toss It Up. Pac later accused Nas of the opposite, that he was the one who stole his beat. Dre really dragged Nas into his beef with Tupac. Some say he did it intentionally, so that Nas can take care of him. The same way Eazy-E wanted to recruit Tupac to diss Dr. Dre, in exchange for him getting signed to Ruthless Records. I mean, Nas and the firm actually got signed to Aftermath, and some of the lines on Nas's album did sound like they were aimed at Tupac. The two ended up having their own little beef. I will cover this in a separate video. But yeah, Dre then responds to what Nas just said, confirming that they both have been dealing with the same problem, meaning Tupac, who supposedly stole their beats. But he also added that Pac, or people in general who steal beats, can't perform on the same level as Sin and Dre, implying that No Diggity is superior to Toss It Up, and Street Dreams superior to All Eyes on Me.
Yeah, my chat say he obsessed with them motherfuckers. He obsessed with Tupac.
Dre then continues to talk about the East Coast West Coast beef, which the same people who stole the beats are a part of. So another hint that they're talking about Tupac. I mean, Pac had just dropped Hit 'Em Up, and the part about him stealing beats fits too. So there's just no way that Nas and Dre meant someone else. Dre basically tells Tupac that he needs to stop it, that he should sit back and watch what happens when people from opposite coasts like Nas and Dre come together to make music.
You know, all these niggas out here just talking this East Coast, West Coast bullshit. Shit need to kill that.
Dre then continues in the outro and calls Tupac a clown who's riffing and beefing, while Dre and Nas kick back and party with Cristal and beautiful women. This is very similar to his comments in the Source magazine, where he said that him and Biggie are relaxing in jacuzzis, enjoying life and laughing at Pac, who's busy trying to diss them in interviews and songs.
Sit back and watch all these motherfucking clowns out here riffing and beefing about this bullshit.
Nas also has a song on the album called The Message, which Pac thought was a diss towards him, especially the part where he calls someone a fake thug.
Fake thug, no love, you get the slug. CB4 gusto, your luck low. I didn't know till I was drunk though.
Pac had enough after hearing those two on Nas's album, and after reading Dre's comments in the Source magazine, he decided to strike back by recording an entire album, dissing all his enemies, including Dre and Nas. I will only cover the disses against Dre. Nas deserves his own video. 6 days after It Was Written came out, meaning on July 8th, Pac recorded the songs Friends and Against All Odds.
Ooh,
on Friends, he said,
right.
What's up in 965 tricks and drag? Oh, Drake, tell that bitch you can kiss my ass.
Tricks and drag is obviously a reference to Dre dressing up as a woman, like back in the early 80s when he was part of the world-class wrecking crew. Something that Eazy-E addressed in the songs Real Compton City G's and It's On.
All of a sudden, Dr. Dre is the G-Thing, but on his own album covers he was a she-thing. Hey, Mr. Prankster, storybook gangster, back in 86 you wore the pumps and mascara.
He also mentioned him on the song Against All Odds, which is an iconic diss track aimed at about a dozen people, who Tupac considered his enemies.
You live in fantasies, I reject your deposit. We shook Dre pump, and now we out of the closet.
Dre was scared of Suge and the Mob Piru, thought that the label got out of control, with all the gangsters that Suge employed and did business with. He felt very uncomfortable every time he had to be in the same room with those people. Refused to meet Suge in Compton, where his gang, the Mob Piru, are originally from. And he also didn't like recording music at Can-Am Studios, especially when Suge's people came to pay him a visit, out of nowhere uninvited while he's trying to work. Suge took full control of the label, and the violence got out of hand. So when Dre decided to leave, Suge and Pac came to the conclusion that Dre is shook, that he ran away from his own label because he's a coward. A fake studio gangster that makes a living with gangster music, but chooses to abandon his gangster label while distancing himself from real gangsters that provided security and safety for all these years. He got scared of his own security and his label. That's what Pac meant. He also addressed the gay rumors. Him supposedly sleeping with his best friend Bruce Williams. With Out of the Closet, Tupac could have also addressed the alleged meeting with Dre where he told him that he's bisexual. Tupac didn't stop there. 2 days later, on July 10th, he recorded the song To Live and Die in LA and Watch Your Mouth. In the Source magazine, Dre said, and I quote, "If I had a dope-ass producer and he's gone to do some newish, I would be trying to prove something to him. Like, we can do this without you. Cause I'm definitely finna show Death Row that I can make hit records just as big, if not bigger, on my own." So Pac decided to respond with a part 2 to their collaboration California Love. But this time without Dre. Just like Dre said, we can do this without you. I can make hit records just as big, if not bigger, on my own. So Pac's response to that was To Live and Die in LA, which became one of the biggest songs of his career, a West Coast anthem. And in the outro he says,
LA, California love part, motherfucker, without gay ass Dre.
Pac wanted to show Dre that he can make hit records just as big, if not bigger, on his own. Cause in the Source magazine he had said that California Love was supposed to be Dr. Dre's solo, and that he wanted to do Tupac a favor by letting him get on the song. Dre was also saying that Tupac is ungrateful, that he's not skilled enough to make hit records without talking about the East Coast West Coast beef. And Tupac wanted to show him that he can make hits about any topic without the help of Dr. Dre, that they don't need him and that they're better off without him. A part 2 to California Love, made in one day. Just like that. While Dre can quote-unquote only drop one song per year. To Live and Die in LA also got a music video later on. But the same day he recorded the song, meaning on July 10th, He also made another diss track called Watch Your Mouth, which was aimed at Dre, Nas, De La Soul, Biggie, Puffy, and Wendy Williams.
Am I blind? Let my rhyme speak. For me in history, a legend, you define me. John Machiavelli, if bow down to death row. Fuck what you say, we untouchable. Now that we done shook Dr. DRE.
Telling Dre to bow down to Death Row, saying that they're untouchable, which actually became the new name of the label after Dre's departure. The New and Untouchable Death Row Records, and then later the Untouchable Death Row Records. They rebranded the label and wanted to show everyone that they're stronger and better than ever, that Dre and Aftermath are in their shadow, and that they can't do anything but bow down.
He ain't made a beat in 6 years, sway this shit. Won't get no record sales sucking Nas is. Let me get my preach on. Niggas drop the beat, I get my freak on. The wrong one for you to speak on. Motherfucker, watch him out.
Like explained earlier, Tupac really had a problem with Dre taking too long to make beats. He also didn't like how Dre was earning stacks from Death Row for doing nothing. After dropping The Chronic, his work ethic went downhill. He was less productive, less cooperative, had a lack of concern for his own company, and on top of that, the quality of his work was decreasing. He failed to release albums that he promised, like his collaboration with Cube, Helter Skelter, or his second solo album The Chronic 2. He also got credit for work that other people did, while everybody thinks that he's the #1 producer. The line about Nas is a double entendre, once again bringing up the gay rumors, but this time in the context of him running to Nas for help, so that Dre can sell a few more units. Because Dre produced Nas Is Coming for the It Was Written album. Then he featured him on the track East Coast West Coast Killers, which sounded like a jab against Tupac. And then he also signed Nas and the firm to Aftermath. What Pac is trying to say is that the whole East Coast West Coast collaboration with Nas won't help him to make a comeback and to sell units, since Nas is already selling less than the main artists on Death Row, and Dre chose him over them. So Pac is saying that Dre bet on the wrong horse and is now losing the race. And indeed, the Aftermath sampler and the Firm album are widely regarded as flops.
My name in the game will follow. Wait, and I'll murder these snakes tomorrow. Bunch of washed up, jealous ass punks, though. Quit boom, it's pop, flip the funk mode. Machiavelli ride, all you niggas die when I come. I see some fly shit and be done. They say Pac ain't got love for the east side. Use a line, motherfucking the weed ride, watch him out.
Pac was calling out every rapper who had a problem with him, and who either directly or indirectly spoke negatively about him. And not just him, his clique, his label, or the West Coast in general. He called Dre and De La Soul washed up snakes, saying that he'll lyrically murder them if they want the smoke. The song was supposed to be a warning, to make people understand that anyone can get it. Pac also responded to the claims that he hates the East Coast, saying that it's all a lie. That Dre is trying to make him look like the bad guy, pushing the blame away from him, saying that Pac's movement is the enemy of hip-hop, because it's using the East Coast-West Coast feud to sell records, while dividing the people and making them fight against each other, when in reality it was him, Suge and Snoop who were the reason why the Coastal War became such an issue in the first place. Especially after what happened at the Source Awards in 95, before Tupac got signed to the label. And even before that, when they put together the Murder Was the Case soundtrack in 94, after the 94 Source Awards, Dre recorded the East Coast Diss Interludes, which was later scrapped from the album. He addressed the hate they got from the East Coast and became vocal about it. Even shouted out Tupac's group Thug Life, back when they were still thinking of signing him to Death Row.
A lot of niggas from the East Coast was talking ish about where hip-hop started, who's running hip-hop and all this ish.
Him and Snoop Dogg got two things coming. One thing coming, they both got damn two faces. You don't know what the fuck they want to be on.
Thug Life, the motherfucking Lynch Mob, the West Coast, my them down south, or anybody trying to keep hip-hop music alive.
So Dre and Snoop already had an issue with the East Coast before that. Suge then went and made it public for the first time during the Source Awards in 95. Snoop Dogg was talking spicy too.
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us.
Pac then finally joined the label after 2 years of negotiations and disagreements, and he then became vocal about all the issues Death Row had with the East Coast, while Snoop and Dre didn't really have the courage to speak up. I mean, they were already thinking of making records dissing the East Coast way before Pac got signed, but they knew it would all have consequences, which is why they scrapped all those tracks and never put them out. Pac was really the only one that was bold and reckless enough to speak up and to diss them on records. Snoop and the Dog Pound were motivated to do the same, but after Tupac spoke up. Without Tupac, they wouldn't have dared to diss them on records. Pac had his own reasons to go at those people after the Quad Studio shooting. So he thought it was only right to speak up for his homies when they didn't have the courage to express how they really felt about the East Coast. Tupac also did it for Suge and his Ma Piru homies. He was thrown into an already existing war, as they were already beefing with Puff Daddy, label boss of East Coast record company Bad Boy Entertainment. There was no turning back after Puffy's friends shot and killed the Ma Piru member Big Jake. Even though Pac was the protagonist of the Coastal War, he wasn't the one who started it. And without Death Row, it would have just been a beef between Pac and Biggie. No one would have treated it like a beef where one coast goes against the other.
Oh boy name, Biggie who?
Dre was partly responsible for the tension that was building up, with both coasts competing in terms of sales and hits. As the owner of Death Row, he should have taken responsibility, but he chose to jump ship and blamed the new guy on the label, someone who joined the label with his own baggage and a huge list of enemies and problems. But the war itself was already there. It was inevitable. So I don't blame Dre either, but he could have spread awareness and tried to calm down the situation by being vocal about it while he was co-owning Death Row, instead of just leaving the label and then pointing his finger at the ones he left behind, calling them the enemy of hip-hop, even though Death Row is his baby, so to speak.
Dre can't fuck with Tupac. He don't even write his own rhyme. The whole time I think I'm growing up, I think he got that right
in the outro, comparing Dre's current level of success and status to himself, now that Dre has lost his company and has to start from scratch, saying that he took Death Row away from him, and also the beat for No Diggity. Pac took Dre's spot in the company, and Dre has to accept that, while he's fading into irrelevance, getting erased by Pac.
Talk your shit, twin. Also, he did sleep with him. Hold on.
This part is a response to Dre's comments in the Source magazine.
So you did sleep with him. Okay, we got that confirmed.
He also had a few words for him in the outro, comparing Dre's current level of success and status to himself, now that Dre has lost his company and has to start from scratch, saying that he took Death Row away from him, and also the beat for No Diggity.
He took your beat.
Pac took Dre's spot in the company, and Dre has to accept that, while he's fading into irrelevance, getting erased by Pac.
Okay, I thought I said I took your bitch. Okay.
This part is a response to Dre's comments in the Source magazine, where he said, a lot of the mother effers that are around Death Row are either jealous or miserable, because they are not in the position you are.
You know the motherfucking history, MOB, and mob style. We don't like your trick ass, you up out here and by murder by hardcore styles. It took hardcore styles for your ass on the wall. You walking and you even come out no morning because you know what time it is.
Once again, the whole thing of them scaring Dre away. And then he also mentions the fact that Dre flew to the East Coast to work with people like Nas, saying that he's now cool with the people that Pac is going to war with.
Don't even front, motherfucker. You think I get with my enemy?
As mentioned earlier, Dre gave Biggie shoutouts in the Source magazine. This was shortly after the release of Hit 'Em Up. He did it with the sole purpose of upsetting Tupac, after he tried to steal the song No Diggity. Plus the whole thing about Dre's interview in the Source being named Life After Death, which Biggie called his upcoming album, which was originally supposed to come out on Halloween 1996. People were waiting for Biggie to come back in the next couple of months, hoping that he'll respond to Hit 'Em Up. There's also an unreleased song called War Games, in which Pac dissed Dre, Nas and The Firm.
Watch a whole crew like I ain't concerned. I bust on bad boy mob deep and murder the firm. When you scream fake dubs, who the fuck you mean? Get more cream than all of y'all. Looking us guilty. Now Dre woman switch sides. She's hiding more. Last year I shed tears, but I don't cry no more.
He also gave Dre and Nas a shout out in his handwritten liner notes for the Illuminati album, mentioning them back to back. I dedicate this to, and then he mentions a whole list of people that he's beefing with. Biggie, Puffy, the people who shot him, his old friend Stretch, Mobb Deep, Little Sean, Wendy Williams, and then Dre, quote unquote, for being a closet H. And then also Nas for quote unquote not minding his own business. Cause he felt like Nas was trying to help Dre to get back at Pac. The songs Watch Your Mouth and Friends were left off the album when it finally came out in November. But one of the reasons why Pac kept calling Dre gay was because of his beef with Eazy-E after NWA disbanded. Eazy-E was the one who basically started the whole rumor of Dre being fruity with his song Real Compton City. In the music video, he showed pictures of Dre with lipstick, eyeliner and tight pants. Photos from back in the days when he was part of the world-class Wrecking Crew between 1983 and 87. In which Pac dissed Dre, Nas and The Firm.
I took a bunch of whole crew like I ain't concerned. I bust on bad boy.
Hold on. Shit, I ain't gonna find that bitch crazy here. Hold on, shit, my bad. I gotta find that damn song. I ain't never heard this song. What's called War Games? Ooh, I found. No, not Catch a Feeling. Okay, I found.
Deep and murder the firm. When you scream fake dubs, who the fuck you mean? Get more cream than all of y'all. Looking us guilty. Now Dre woman switch sides. She's hiding more. Last year I shed tears, but I don't cry no more.
He also gave Dre and Nas a shout out in his handwritten liner notes for the Illuminati album, mentioning them back to back. I dedicate this to, and then he mentions a whole list of people that he's beefing with. Biggie, Puffy, the people who shot him, his old friend Stretch, Mobb Deep, Little Sean, Wendy Williams, and then Dre, quote unquote, for being a closet H. And then also Nas for quote unquote not minding his own business. Cause he felt like Nas was trying to help Dre to get back at Pac. The songs Watch Your Mouth and Friends were left off the album when it finally came out in November. But one of the reasons why Pac kept calling Dre gay was because of his beef with Eazy-E after NWA disbanded. Eazy-E was the one who basically started the whole rumor of Dre being fruity with his song Real Compton City G's. In the music video, he showed pictures of Dre with lipstick, eyeliner and tight pants. Photos from back in the days when he was part of the world-class Wrecking Crew between 1983.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy.
And 87. That was a decisive blow to the gangster rap icon. And the rap game came to the conclusion that Eazy-E had successfully defeated Dr. Dre and Death Row in a rap beef. The gay rumors were Dr. Dre's kryptonite. It took a while for him to recover from that diss track. A lot of people, especially in the hood, which was his main audience at the time, lost respect for him and called him a studio gangster and actor. This whole thing about Dre being fruity had been around for years, but people had forgotten about it since the passing of Eazy-E. Bringing back the rumors and spreading it even further is the easiest way to attack him. Pac was fully aware of that. According to the singer Jewel, who was part of the Death Row family, she had seen that side of Dre with her own eyes while she was on Death Row. Dre supposedly continued wearing those things in the 90s, and a lot of people kept quiet about it since it would hurt the label. If this is true, then no wonder Suge wanted to get rid of him. Cause Dre being gay while also running a gangsta rap label at the same time would technically be the equivalent of a coke addict trying to lead an anti-drug movement. So you had people like Jewel, Tupac, Suge, and supposedly Michelle A confirming what Eazy-E had been saying this whole time. But when he said it, it was all just accusations from a rival, who's trying everything he can to destroy his image. But now you had people in his camp claiming that they saw it with their own eyes. So it was more than just a rumor now. It was now time to continue what Eazy-E had started. And it was really looking bad for Dre since he had to start from zero. His decision to all of a sudden give up on gangsta rap, while the people on Death Row are trying to make him look like a gay studio gangster, was really making it look like the people from Death Row are in the right. After claiming that they kicked him out because he's not the gangster he claims to be in his lyrics. There's no place for a fake gangster on a gangster label. And all Dre did was confirm the accusations. Cause all of a sudden he's now the mature guy, someone who doesn't surround himself with gangsters and respects women. After 10 years of gangster rap, one of the fathers of gangster rap distancing himself from gangster rap, all while people are trying to expose him for being gay and a studio gangster, saying that he has no other choice than to choose the mature route, now that he can't make gangster rap anymore, with him getting exposed left and right. So Pac used the gossip, the question marks in everybody's heads, and the rumors on the streets to his advantage, to make Dre look like a fraud. Dre later responded in interviews saying that him and Pac didn't really know each other that well, that Pac's claims about him being gay weren't true, saying that him and Pac weren't even close enough for him to be able to verify those claims. They supposedly never hung out or even had dinner together, saying that the only places the two were at together were in the studio and at the video set. So they were nothing but business partners.
There was nothing there between me and Tupac. There was nothing there. What he was saying about me is all hype because he knows absolutely nothing about me except what he hears and reads. You know, we've never hung out. We never even went to dinner. You know, the only place we've been together at is in the studio and the video set. That's it.
He said, look, I want something more than anything in, you know, possibly more than anything in the world. And I said, what's that? And he said he wanted to be white. I said, well, look, I ain't God. I can't make you white. You know, I'm a manager and all things. I mean, you can make enough money and you can act white and you can live white, but I can't make you white. And he said, well, Jimmy told me that he can put me on a level where I don't have to cuss on my records and I can live that type of way. He said to Jimmy, you know, and I was shocked. I was like, well, you know, where all this come from? Being black and
I can't believe it.
At Jonathan Nichols,
you know,
AD68.
that's the only way to be, you know.
Shout out Jonathan for joining the show.
You probably can never be. But if you can marry
How you doing, John?
a white person and you can have, then your kids more likely to be more white.
I can't listen to my
you know,
voice call.
I
He don't
feel
be
we
saying the
friends
name.
because he take my advice because he done it. You know, he married a white lady. He got, you know, missed kids, which is good.
The song No Diggity was finally released on July 29th.
I ain't gonna lie, there no diggity.
It features Dr. Dre and the female rapper Queen Pen. The song topped the Hot 100 for 4 consecutive weeks and sold over 1.6 million copies the year it came out. It definitely helped Dre during his transition phase from Death Row to Aftermath.
You got lucky, bitch.
The song came with an iconic music video at a beach. Suge and Pac were fuming, as their plans of sabotaging Dre failed. They wanted to hinder Dre from any ongoing success outside of Death Row, but now he made a huge comeback merging R&B and hip-hop. So they decided to remake the song by removing the distinctive piano and parts of the Bill Withers sample. They added their own vocals, piano and sound effects to make it sound harder and more aggressive compared to the slower No Diggity. The new version of Toss It Up is more hip-hop than R&B, while the old version, just like No Diggity, was more R&B than hip-hop. Tupac decided to add an additional verse to diss Dre. Right at the end of the song, they turned the R&B track into a battle rap song. Pac gave the phrase "toss it up" two different meanings. In the first verse, it's referring to sex, and in the second verse, it's referring to violence. This is Tupac's representation of the love and death nexus. They decided to put out the record as the lead single to the upcoming album The Donk Illuminati's 7 Day Theory, which was supposed to be filled with disses. Toss It Up is hereby the main song on which he's directly going at Dre, as Pac dedicated the entire second verse to him, which he wrote and laid down on August 4th.
Still down for that death row sound, searching for paydays, no longer Dre Day, or even Dirt J.
Pac starts off by referencing Dre's song Effing with Dre Day, which was a diss track aimed at Eazy-E, to which E responded with Real Compton City G's, where he says,
Damn, E, they tried to fade you on Dre Day, but Dre Day only meant Easy's payday, no longer Dre Day, or even Dirt J.
So Pac brings back the whole Dre Day is payday thing, and then he says goodbye to him in Italian. Not just because he left Death Row, but also to say that the days of Dre are no more. He's trying to say that Dre is obsolete and a thing of the past now. Try to quote-unquote plot child's play by stabbing his friends in the back and leaving the label to join the enemy on the East Coast. The part about him telling Dre to check his sexuality obviously refers to all the rumors about Dre being gay, which again were spread by Eazy.
You say fruity one more goddamn time.
Bringing that rumor back now that he got confirmation by Shook and the singer Michelle that Dre indeed had a relationship with his best friend Bruce Williams. They keep bringing this up to destroy Dre's image and reputation, as gangsters usually are trying to be anything but feminine. They really saw Dre as a traitor, someone who gave up on being part of the #1 label on the West Coast to go work with people on the East Coast. Loyalty was the most important thing to them, leaving the label, not being there for Snoop during his trial, producing more beats for rappers on the East Coast than for Pac, dissing Pac in the Source magazine while giving his enemies a shoutout, encouraging Nas to go at Tupac, saying that East Coast rappers are better than the ones on the West Coast, and that West Coast music has become stale, while the East is coming back. All this was seen by Pac as Dre stabbing his friends on the West Coast in the back. He's asking him who he'll run to next after crossing Death Row and joining forces with Nas. That's who he's addressing in the next line by saying that Nas and Dre are similar. Pac is laughing at Dre and Nas for being quote-unquote fake gangsters that are pretending to be hard. Nas evolved into a mafioso-style rapper with his sophomore album It Was Written, rapping about drugs, his criminal life, and him getting shot in the leg, and then leaving the hospital the next day. Just like Tupac during the Quad Studio shooting. Pac didn't believe that any of those stories are true, saying that Nas's stories are all made up and fake, just like Dre, who always pretended to be tough since the NWA days. A gangster from Compton, even though he can't go back there, as he has more enemies there than friends. Dre was using Shook's gang ties and intimidating aura to gain respect in the hood and make his gangster rap lyrics more believable. But Pac and Shook felt like he couldn't live up to the fake image he created, that it got too much for him, as he couldn't be the man he was rapping about all the time. At first he was benefiting from them, by putting the industry in fear and getting him out of the contract with Ruthless Records. But later, when the same people that protected him got too close to him, he felt uncomfortable and started to distance himself from them, refusing to spend time with them in the studio or meeting up with them in Compton. He later left the label by saying that all that gangsta-ish is childish and that he has matured now, saying that gangsta rap is dead. Even though years later, after Tupac's death and Suge's incarceration, he went back to doing gangsta records.
Screaming Compton, but you can't return. You ain't heard brothers piss cause you switched and escaped to the verse.
Born and raised in Compton, Dre proudly represented his hometown throughout his career. Pac claims that Dre is no longer welcome there, as he has lost his street cred and ditched the Compton streets for the suburbs. Eazy-E offered a similar sentiment on his Dre diss record It's On.
Screaming Compton, but you can't return. You ain't heard brothers piss cause you switched and escaped to the verse.
Suge also confirmed that Dre was too scared to go to Compton because of Eazy-E's connections to the Crips. And now he had upset the Bloods in Compton as well. Like mentioned earlier, Dre bought a new mansion in Chatsworth, Los Angeles on May 6, 1996. Pac is asking him how he can be one of the fathers of gangster rap and at the same time distance himself from all the gangsters, to the point that he can't even visit the place he was born and grew up in.
Said, Pac is the only rapper who talk and do what he talked about.
Pac is giving a shout out to Suge's gang, the Macaru, which he himself became a part of. He got a MOB tattoo on the back of his right arm and rapped MOB in countless songs. It's the same gang that Dre was afraid of and tried to distance himself from. The same people who kept sending him threats and continued to harass him for years.
Every rap he beef with, they take so long to respond back and dispatch. They gotta take months and weeks off. He make a song in a day, make a hit in a day. It's crazy.
It's to come. In the outro, he starts to ramble about Puffy, Dre, and Teddy Riley, asking the listener how non-players like them can make player songs like No Diggity, while admitting that they indeed took Teddy Riley's beat, saying that Dre, Teddy Riley, and Blackstreet were wasting the beat due to their poor vocal performance, which is why they took the beat and showed them how it's done properly. Even if they filed the cease and desist letter against their throat, they had done no justice to the beats, which is why they took it and made it their own. Sick and tired of artists, quote-unquote, not rocking beats right. After putting together the second version of the song, Pac and Suge decided to do a video for it, similar to the one Dre and Blackstreet did for No Diggity. The location for Dre's music video was a beach, so they decided to do the same thing for Toss It Up. The first music video was filmed on August 12th, where they tried to recreate all the scenes with Dre at a beach. This was done on purpose, so that the fans can decide which version is better. In the behind the scenes footage, you can see Pac and Suge making fun of Dre. Pac said Dre can be found at Peanuts, which was a gay nightclub.
If you were lesbian, I love you. But if you are homo, Dre not gonna be here today. Not today. Dre not gonna be here. He said he wanna be here. If you looking for Dre, he's not gonna be here. Yeah, Peanuts.
She like, oh my god, I'm walk away.
A day later, on August 13th, the first single to Dre's upcoming compilation album, The Aftermath, was released. It's called East Coast, West Coast Killers, and also came with a music video. The track was produced by Dre and Stubby-Doo, and features RBX, Be Real, KRS-One, and Nas, who again was in the middle of a beef with Tupac. So it once again seemed like Nas and Dre joined forces against their common enemy, which was Death Row. In the music video, you can see Dre and Nas smoking cigars together, with the narrator saying, "We have a problem that has the potential to become a very serious problem. The East Coast-West Coast separation. is exactly the weapon our enemies need to destroy our empire. So what we need to do is bring together some of the biggest, strongest and smartest forces in the millennium. And this will be the beginning of the aftermath. With our enemies, Dre is obviously referring to Tupac, Suge and Death Row, who during that summer were attacking a long list of artists on the East Coast, most notably on the song Hit 'Em Up. RBX even opened up the song with a line that sounds like it's directed at Tupac.
Oh, you can keep that shit.
Tupac was the protagonist of the East Coast West Coast war, and he was also Dre's enemy at the time. So this was definitely a shot at Pac, who obviously didn't like what Dre was doing. The release of It Was Written and Dre's appearance in the Source magazine made Tupac stop working on the One Nation album, which again was supposed to be an East Coast West Coast collaboration. So something similar to what Dre did with his album The Aftermath. He did songs with Black Moon, Smith & Wesson, OGC, Helter Skelter, Greg Nice from Nice and Smooth, The Loonies. He also did songs with Big Daddy Kane and wanted to work with Melly Mel, who was supposed to get signed to Death Row East. So Pac did exactly what Dre wanted to do this whole time: bring the East and West Coast back together. This was before Dre and Nas sent shots at Pac on It Was Written and the July issue of the Source magazine, which made him push the One Nation album to the sides and focus on his next solo album, The Donk Illuminati, on which he's once again attacking the East Coast. Had Nas and Dre not made a move, we might have not gotten the Illuminati album. He might have continued to work on the One Nation album instead, cause it was still not completed by the time he passed in September. Pac's approach on the One Nation album was different than Dre's peacemaking efforts on the Aftermath album, cause Pac was basically cherry-picking who he wanted to make peace with and work with, while at the same time battling the rest of the East Coast, mainly the ones who were at the top. He was trying to create a rift within the East Coast. Those who tried to stay out of the East Coast-West Coast war, and those who tried to become a part of it. The people on the East Coast who collaborated with Tupac later got into trouble with Tupac's enemies, like Starang Wonder from OGC for example, who got beaten up by Biggie's goons at D&D Studios. I covered this in my Biggie vs. Nas video. Make sure to check it out. Tupac wanted to become the gatekeeper for artists on the East Coast, destroying careers of those he didn't like and promoting those who were showing him love. That's why they founded Death Row East. They wanted to sign all the people they were cool with on the East Coast. Tupac's goal was to be in full control of the East Coast. He wasn't really in peace mode like Dre. Pac only wanted to be cool with the chosen few who show him love. He didn't reach out his hand to people who got themselves involved in the East-West conflict, only to those who tried to stay out of it. You only needed to say one bad thing about the West Coast and you were on Pac's hit list. The only enemies for Dr. Dre were Suge Knight and Tupac. He wanted to make peace with the entire East Coast. Didn't even want to battle Pac, but because of Suge, beef was inevitable. Dre tried to ignore everything Pac had to say about him. He was actually the mature one. Just wanted to move on and undo the damage him and his old label had done to the culture, cause artists were too scared to come perform on the opposite coasts, thinking that they might get booed or attacked. On August 24th, Tupac did an interview with Rob Marriott and once again spoke about Dr. Dre. When asked if Pac was the one who pushed Dre off Death Row, he said, "I did. Suge is the boss of Death Row."
Suge is the boss. He the boss of Death Row. Suge is the gun. You understand? But I'm the underboss. I'm the capo. That's my job. To protect all of Death Row, to do what's best for all of Death Row. And Snoop, to do what's best for all of Death Row. My decision wasn't based on I'm coming to Death Row, taking it over. My decision was based on Dre not being there, for Snoop doing his crowd, and this is all for real shit. You understand? And then he wasn't producing shit. I began to produce the beat like on my album. I began to doing the beat, and Dre was getting the credit. And I gotta go to MTV and be like, yeah, he did that. No, he ain't do it. He is a dope producer, but he ain't working years. And I got tired of that. I didn't think we needed that. I think we didn't need that. And he's owning the company too, and he's killing. He owning the company, he's killing it out. Fucking busy. I'm out here in the street, you know what I mean? Whooping niggas ass, starting wars, putting it down, dropping albums, doing my shit. And it's taking 3 years to do one song. I couldn't have it. But it was not my decision. It was Suge's decision. Suge the one that was coming to me.
So, according to Pac, Suge asked him to go at Dre, and he takes full credit for pushing Dre off his own label. Death Row can never be weak, no matter what. If we stop selling millions and all that, we will always have our honor. We will always have our respect. And that's all I'm in this rap game for. I already have famous records. I'm in this ish for the honor and respect. To be a family. To be known as something. Nobody respects a man who don't do for himself. I'm a soldier. So I'm here on death row to put my time into this army. It's not like they got me out of jail and now I gotta do for them. It's that they believed in me. So I believe in this company when no one else will. When people said this was played out, I'm breathing into it. I don't give a F if I don't get along with anybody else on the label. This is for death row. When it comes to the point when I feel it can stand on its own, I will move on. But me and Suge will always do business together. Forever. That's how Pac felt 2 weeks before he got shot and killed in Vegas. Him going at Dre really made Snoop and the Dogg Pound distance themselves from Pac and Suge, since they owed their careers to Dre, who made them famous. Without him, they wouldn't be where they are. At this point in time, they didn't have much contact to him, but they also didn't want to jump on the Dre hate train. They tried to stay out of it, and did their own thing with all the Crips on the label. It was mainly the Bloods who were going at him. On September 1st, Dre released Been There Done That, which was his first solo single after his departure from the label Death Row Records. It was written by Jay Flex, who was still waiting for Dre to get him out of Death Row and to sign him to Aftermath, which unfortunately never happened. The beat was made by Dre and Butter, the guy that Pac held back when the Outlaws beat up Jay Flex and Jay Boogie. He was also the one who watched Tupac, 6'8" and the Outlaws beat up Sam Snead. Fans respected Dre's call to renounce violence and focus on making money. But Been There Done That didn't quite resonate with them like his earlier work. It was, however, an early example of what would later be called grown man rap. And as rap stars age and try to reconcile their maturity with their hellion public images, it deserves a special place in the Dre canon. It marked a pivotal moment in Dre's career. He wanted to show the world that he has leveled up business and success-wise with his new label Aftermath Entertainment. He has his own butler, chauffeur and a glamorous woman on his side. The song and music video included shots at his ex-girlfriend Michelle Lay. Not only did he shove his marriage with Nicole in Michelle Lay's face by adding scenes of an attorney who's supposed to depict Dre's wife, Nicole, with whom he's living a happy life, going on dates together, dancing in ballrooms, and enjoying their wealth together, but lyrically, he's also trying to convince Michelle Lay that Nicole is superior. Like explained earlier, Dre and Michelle Lay had an abusive relationship. It seemed like Dre didn't really respect Michelle Lay as his equal, at a time when his lyrics were super misogynistic. But now that he found Nicole, he all of a sudden changed his view on women.
Ladies, get your paper too. Don't expect for no man to support you.
Prior to their marriage, Dre's wife was an attorney, just like they showed in the music video. Back then, she was an independent woman and didn't really need Dre's money, even though things changed 20 plus years later. Cause Dre went through a messy 18-month divorce battle, and in December 2021, he had to pay $100 million to his ex-wife Nicole. Unfortunately, their marriage didn't last. But back in '96, he was super happy with her. Michelle A, on the other hand, was always treated like all the other baby mamas Dre had. Cause Michelle A was from the hood and wasn't the independent and educated type like Nicole. Michelle A always needed attention and assistance, especially because of her pill and alcohol addiction. She couldn't drive around due to her DUI case, didn't have money to go buy groceries, and always needed a man to support her, which, as explained earlier, led to Michelle A and Suge's relationship after Dre had enough of her and started neglecting her.
Said, haha, her LOL. You mean him?
He's once again indirectly comparing Michelle A and Nicole. Dre quote-unquote erased Michelle A and instead married a career woman, someone that's independent and is making her own money. Suge and Michelle A's relationship only got stronger and stronger after Dre's departure from the label. The two even ended up having a kid together years later. On September 4th, Tupac, Suge, Snoop, Dre and Nas went to the MTV Music Awards. Tupac and Dre didn't actually meet. Dre was there with his wife Nicole. Their Fro had an entourage of over 50 people, and they actually clashed with Nas and his people. But Dre was completely unbothered by the people from Death Row. 2 days later, on September 6th, Tupac recorded the second version of the music video for the song Toss It Up, which they ended up using. Then, a day later, he got shot and killed in Las Vegas after the Mike Tyson-Bruce Seldon fight. I covered everything in detail in my 4-hour documentary, The Reason Why Puff Daddy Killed Tupac. Make sure to check it out. So Pac gets shot on September 7th
look at his
and
wife
spends
close,
the
that's a
next
dude,
6
LOL.
days at the University Medical Center in Las Vegas, where he loses his life on September 13th. Dre actually came to visit him and was very sad about it. He then called Nancy Fletcher, the singer who Pac told that he doesn't like Dre, and told her that it's looking bad, and that Pac had lost a finger. He told her that it was just like when he visited Eazy-E in the hospital before he died. You can tell that he really cared for them regardless of their beef. Shortly after that, the people from Death Row had a meeting at K&M Studios, where Dre's ghostwriter Jay Flex and the Outlaws squashed their beef. Jay Flex was still not signed to Aftermath. He felt like Dre tricked him to get some free verses from him. Suge then told Jay Flex to go diss him on a song and to call him gay. The former he ended up doing, but the latter he didn't want to do as he didn't really have evidence for it. He then went to the studio and recorded the diss track for the Death Row Greatest Hits album. On September 26th, they then put out Pac's Toss It Up, the second version with the second music video. And Dre could, for the first time, hear the deceased Tupac diss him on a song, using an altered version.
When the fuck did we see that? I think it was before that. Yeah, it was right over there. Yeah, that man.
Then, a day later.
Damn, can we zoom in? Oh, yeah, squint, but I got the contacts in. Yeah, it look like ain't no key in that motherfucker, to be real. Well, the key was black, though. They did have them kind of keys back then. What y'all think? Key in there or no key? It look like ain't no key in there, though. Yeah, I'm tripping. Where the fuck Eminem come from?
Already promoting his upcoming album. Death Row wanted to once again sabotage Dre's comeback. Everyone was waiting for Dre.
Oh, you gonna stop it right now.
At James Fulton B5B said, no key LOL.
Yeah, I seen it. It look like no key. I'm gonna go zoom in on that. I'm gonna screenshot that shit. I'm gonna post that shit on my YouTube. I don't see no key in there. I'm gonna post it on my post. But tomorrow's stream is gonna be Ice Cube versus Tupac, and Friday is gonna be Machiavelli Day. Is gonna be on Twitch. So y'all make sure y'all follow me on Twitch, Baby Jody 7413. I'm gonna get all the Tupac emotes. We're gonna do Poetic Justice. We're gonna do all Tupac. We're gonna play the songs on stream. I can't play them on YouTube, so that's why I'm doing it on Twitch Friday. So y'all make sure Y'all keep a lookout on my posters for Machiavelli Day, Friday. Tomorrow's stream gonna be Ice Cube versus Tupac. I thank y'all so much for coming through, showing so much love. I'll see y'all next time. If you haven't liked, subscribe, please do.